Chapter 975. How was this F asterisk king poor? What the F asterisk CK? Which immortal is so blind to say that he's poor? Is this even human language? The corners of the genius list's mouths twitched. They had gathered here to buy odd crystal fragments to strengthen themselves, but they didn't expect Lin Chun to book the entire place. In the past, when they met someone with a lot of money, they would maliciously raise the price, but no one dared to do anything to this young Master Long. He had bid hundreds of thousands of silver St. Origin coins. What if he didn't follow? Wouldn't they have to spend several times the price to buy a few odd crystal fragments? Hundreds of thousands of silver St. Origin coins had gone down the drain. No one dared to take this risk. Although the VIPs attending the auction had some capital, most of them were from second-grade forces, and only a few were from third-grade sections. Moreover, even third-grade sects wouldn't dare to bid like this. In just a few auctions, this young Master Long had bid more than 3 million silver St. Origin coins. It was shocking. Almost all the odd crystal fragments were bought by young Master Long, and no one dared to bid. Lin Shin spent more than 4 million silver St. Origin coins and obtained 14 odd crystal fragments, which he broke down and turned into a killing technique. In addition to the previous accumulation, Lin Shun now had 17 types of high-level blue killing techniques. This was one of the few powers he had to contend with a sage, and one could never have too many killing techniques. The auctioneer was overjoyed. He had earned a lot this time. He actually met such a big gold mine. And Xiao Jiao looked at Lin Shun with even more admiration, and Yenner's expression gradually turned solemn. The auctioneer pushed out a new counter and opened the jade box to reveal 10 sparkling green jade raisins. Glazed Bodhi seed, a sacred item for healing internal injuries. Its effect is similar to the legendary Long Qingguo, but its healing effect is better than the Long Qingguo. Long Qingguo can increase vitality and can also be used for healing. On the other hand, the Glazed Bodhi bead is a holy healing item that has no effect on tempering vitality. It's of the same value as the Long Qingguo, and each has its own merits. The starting price of each of these 10 Glazed Bodhi seeds will be set according to the market rate of Long Qingguo, which is 100,000 St. Origin coins each. It's an essential healing item for life and death situations, and it doesn't have any medicinal resistance. As for how much it is, it will depend on the bidding. As soon as this item appeared, the atmosphere of the audience became extremely heated. Many veteran experts had come for this. Long Qingguo was priceless on the market, and it was a sacred item for body refinement and healing. Although the Glazed Bodhi seed did not have the miraculous effect of increasing one's vitality, its healing effects were even better than that of the Long Qingguo. A battle between experts was bound to be filled with life and death situations. After taking a peak 7th grade life-saving pill once, one's resistance to it would be higher. The second time he took it, it would not be as effective as the first time. It would be good if he could get 50% of it. The Glazed Bodhi seed had no resistance to medicinal effects. This was even higher than some of the peak 7th grade life-saving pills themselves. 150,000, 200,000, 200,000 silver St. Origin coins and a top-grade 7th tier pill. 200,000 St. Origin coins plus a peak purple grade mental cultivation technique. The 4th and 5th Tribulation Battle Emperors from various big families and sects started to bid. They had taken out all their money for a single Glazed Bodhi seed. The auctioneer swallowed his saliva and focused on Lin Chen's reaction. That's right. In the end, it all depended on whether this rich man would bid or not. Many experts were also secretly observing this young Master Long. If he bid, things would not be as simple as they seemed. Lin Chen finally reacted under the gazes of tens of thousands of people. He slowly raised his hand and stretched out 5 fingers. I'll take all the Glazed Bodhi seeds. 5 million St. Origin coins. The audience was silent. 5,000,000 St. Origin coins? This number was equivalent to a whole month's worth of expenses for a 4th grade sect. Although the top 4th grade sects were even wealthier, This number was so terrifying that it shocked everyone present. If this young Master Long was a Saint Realm expert, no one would have doubted his wealth. However, he was just a young man. Judging from his appearance, he was only in his early 20s. Even the appointed successor of a fourth-grade sect would not be able to fork out such a huge amount of money at once. Everyone was madly guessing Lin Chen's identity. After a while, the auctioneer came to his senses and made the final decision. All 10 glazed Bodhi seeds were won by Lin Chen. Almost as soon as he received the glazed Bodhi seeds, Lin Chen immediately gave 2 of them to Little Dark Shadow in the peach blossom pouch. What a fast recovery speed. No wonder it is a treasure as famous as Long Qingguo. At this rate, Little Dark Shadow will be completely healed the day after tomorrow. Lin Chen was overjoyed. Little Dark Shadow's recovery meant that he could move freely under the eyes of Saint Realm expert. In tonight's final treasure, the auctioneer was very excited. He waved his hand, and a beautiful maid slowly pushed out a freezer. It was filled with a crystal clear and pure liquid. However, from time to time, it would emit a faint blue brilliance and mist. Heavenly One Holy Water? My God, so much Heavenly One Holy Water. How much will it sell for? Some of the VIPs gasped. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. These days, the Heavenly One Holy Water was about 1 cubic meter. For Lin Chen to cultivate the pure gold tree, it was like a pillow to sleep. When Lin Chen first obtained the peach blossom pouch, the Heavenly One Holy Water was about 5 cubic meters. The amount of Heavenly One Holy Water now was equivalent to 1/5 of that. Heavenly One Holy Water contains pure Saint Qi. It can enhance a living being's perception and spirituality. It can also accelerate the learning of battle skills and cultivation techniques. It can even help a living being break through the original grade of a battle skill. The starting price is 800,000 silver Saint Origin coins. Of course, according to the original seller, the bidding can be done separately. Before the auctioneer finished speaking, countless people almost went crazy. Lin Chen raised his hand again. 5 million silver Saint Origin coins and 50,000 7th-order high-grade herbs. I want them all. Silence. The whole place fell into a strange silence. Even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. This auction ended in an unprecedented manner. Although there wasn't a heated bidding war, the second half of the auction was simply ridiculous. Hey, the feeling of spending money is really great. Lin Chen walked out of the auction house and felt refreshed. The harvest this time was huge. Although he spent more than 14 million silver Saint Origin coins, he obtained a large amount of Heavenly One Holy Water and odd crystal fragments. Lin Chen didn't care about this sum of money at all. His luck spirit plant could produce this amount of money in a few days. Lin Chen deeply felt the joy of having enough resources. Strolling on the street, Lin Chen saw the distant starry sky. There was a colorful glow that illuminated the night. It was countless times brighter than the moonlight. What is that place? Lin Chen asked curiously. That is the Chun family's Purgatory Volcano Island. Isn't it beautiful? Every year, countless tourists come to the Chun family's island to see this wonder. And Xiao Jiao happily introduced it to Lin Chen. Yes, it is indeed beautiful. Lin Chen sighed, but his next sentence gave the 2 sisters beside him a big scare. The fire at the mouth of the volcano is already so beautiful. If it was used for fireworks, it would definitely be even more beautiful. Chapter 976. Fireworks? Even the Saint Realm experts had to be careful when entering the Purgatory Volcano Island. Who would dare to set off fireworks there? The sisters were drenched in cold sweat. This young Master Long was really interesting. Lin Chen returned to the alchemy workshop and spent 5,200,000 Saint Origin coins to purchase more than a dozen 8th-grade treasures. He left with more than 3 million Saint Origin coins satisfied. There were more than a dozen cities like Dragon Elephant City in the Chun family's territory. Lin Chen wasn't afraid that the Saint Realm experts would come here. When he returned to the Yin family, Lin Chen went into seclusion and activated his doppelgangers to refine the remaining silver Saint origin coins. After a few twists and turns, Lin Shun had touched the shackles of the Third Tribulation Combat Emperor realm. After one night, Lin Shun and all his doppelgangers had absorbed a large amount of silver Saint origin coins. However, the 3 spiritual plants of luck had produced another 3 million Saint origin coins. The cultivation resources were endless. Previously, I could gain 1 point of senior battle chi essence by refining 10 silver Saint Yuan coins. Now, I need over 20 silver Saint Yuan coins. It seems that after improving my element attribute and cultivation base, my cultivation base is becoming firmer and firmer. At the same time, it is more difficult for me to make a breakthrough in cultivation base. At this moment, a festive noise came from outside Lin Chen's room. Young Master Yin Shun and Young Master Yin Jun are here to marry the 2 daughters of the Yin family. At the entrance of the Yin family's mansion, 2 7th-grade cloud dragons appeared in the sky. They were majestic and breathed out mist. Red curtains were hung all over the place, making them look like red palanquins. Master N's face turned slightly ugly. 2 young men in red robes walked slowly into the main hall. When they saw Master N, one of them smiled and said, "Master, we've arrived as promised. Please invite the 2 brides out." The hundreds of people outside and the 7 Fifth Tribulation Combat Emperors of the Yin family had mocking expressions on their faces. Groups of people carried the betrothal gifts into the Yin family, regardless of whether the Yin family accepted or not. "I don't remember agreeing to betroth my daughters to you. It's the same no matter how many times I've said it. Are you trying to snatch them away?" Master N scolded in a deep voice. The 2 geniuses looked gloomy. Yin Shin smiled and said, "Master N, we've already given the betrothal gifts. Do you want us to return empty-handed? My sister and I never planned to marry into the Yun family. Could it be that you want to start a war with the Yin clan?" And Xiao Jiao and Yin Yinner appeared in the main hall. The cold and arrogant True Origin looked at Xiao Jiao with a lustful and greedy gaze. He did not hide the greed in his eyes. These 2 women had top-notch talent in alchemy. The 2 cousins married the 2 sisters not only because of their beauty, but also to gradually annex the Yin family and permanently keep a high-level alchemist by their side. Our Yin clan is not a pushover. If you dare to snatch her away in the name of marriage, our Yin clan does not mind waging an all-out war with you. The 3 Fifth Tribulation Battle Emperors of the Yin family stood out. Their gazes were sharp, and their momentum was unyielding. A yellow-robed old man stepped forward with an ancient command medallion in his hand. With a mocking smile, he said, "Is that so? Are you sure you want to fight to the death with us?" The word Chun was engraved on the ancient token. Patriarch N's expression changed slightly. "Chun Jialing, you actually obtained the command token of the Chun clan." Obtaining this token proved that the affiliated family would be heavily nurtured by the Chun family. The Yin clan could not be compared to this. If an all-out war broke out, the middle-level elders of the Chun family would intervene. If they were expelled and left the protection of Dragon Elephant City and the Chun family's territory, the Yin clan would definitely be homeless. Do you want to offend the Chun family? If you don't want to be expelled, then don't make things difficult for both sides. Patriarch N, after Xiao Jiao and Yinner marry into the family, you will be our father-in-law. True Origin sneered. Patriarch Un and the elders were trembling with anger. None of you can take away anyone here today. I will give you the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. If not, I will throw all of you out. A young and calm laughter echoed in the hall, and Xiao Jiao and her sister were delighted. Brother Long, the youth in green, walked to the front of the sisters and patted Patriarch N's shoulder with a smile. Patriarch, you can sit aside and drink some tea. I will take care of the rest. The 2 Fifth Tribulation Battle Emperors looked at Lin Shin seriously and said, "Are you the one who crippled the people of the Yun clan yesterday and displayed your skills at the auction?" Some of the people of the Yun clan curled their lips. "Longchenbois? What kind of name is that? Don't you know whether it is me or not? Today, I will protect everyone here. Are you going to scram, or do you want me to throw you out?" Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. His killing intent was overflowing. Oh, brother, you also like the Sisters of the Infamily? Truorigin asked with a fake smile on his face. Lin Chun waved his hand. Don't compare me with you. I'm a little interested in them. I don't want them to be concubines, but they can be maids. Everyone was stunned. The two daughters of the Infamily's alchemy geniuses were going to be maids. This tone was too big, and Xiaojiao blushed and looked at Lin Chun curiously. Rumble. Yun Chen's aura surged as he angrily slapped Lin Chun with his palm. Everyone's expression changed slightly. Cut the crap. Even a weakling like you doesn't have the qualifications to fight over women with me. Truorigin was even more sinister. With a flick of his finger, 3 rays of sword chi shot out. Bang! Bang! The battle chi of light calamity flashed, tearing apart the airflow, shattering the sword chi and the afterimages. Before the 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor could react, the two geniuses were sent flying out of the Infamily's gate like arrows released from a bow. The two of them spat out blood and even pieces of their internal organs. It was a ghastly sight. Their battle chi shrank and became weaker. My battle chi fate wheel, how dare you destroy me? You are dead. The Chun family will not let you go, bastard. The two of them screamed miserably. The experts of the Infamily and the Yun family twitched their mouths. One move. The two of them were destroyed before the 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor could see clearly. How dare you? The elder of the Yun family was furious. Boom! A hurricane rolled up and a flying knife was pressed against the elder's neck. Its speed was as fast as a ghost. Why? Do you want to be with them? Even if Chun Wuming of the Chun family is here, as long as I am here, he won't be able to take anything away. Lin Chen's face was expressionless as he sneered. The 7 elders of the Yun family were drenched in cold sweat. Oh no, we have kicked an iron plate. When the Yun family members were destroyed, they were still skeptical. They didn't expect that there was a hermit living in seclusion in the Yun family. His background was terrifying. Truorigin and Truorigin were ranked 93,000th on the genius ranking. They were both 1st Tribulation Battle Emperors. To be able to destroy the two of them with one move, one had to be a genius ranked 60,000th or higher. How could such people have an ordinary background? There were no mediocre people on the genius ranking. The higher the ranking of a genius, the more terrifying his background was. Ordinary sects couldn't cultivate top geniuses at all. This was a principle recognized by the sacred boundary. Chapter 977. How could this kid have such a deep relationship with the Infamily? No one said that he was close to the 2 daughters of the Infamily during the auction. Damn it, the Chen family won't offend such a genius for us. With this kid's help, it's almost impossible to swallow the Infamily. We even lost Yunjun and Yunchun. What the F***CK? The 5th Tribulation Battle Emperors retreated in embarrassment. The people of the Infamily shouted together, "Get lost! Young Master Long, thank you for helping our Infamily avoid this calamity." Master uncupped his fists and thanked him solemnly. I will never forget young Master Long's kindness. I wonder if young Master Long was serious about taking me and my sister as your maids? And Yinner asked with a smile. Miss Yinner is so smart. You can naturally guess that I was joking. Lin Shin smiled and continued in a serious tone. I have an urgent matter to attend to and will be leaving in 2 days. This is all I can help you with. Brother Long, are you leaving? Didn't you say that you will celebrate my birthday with me the day after tomorrow? And Xiaojiao was reluctant to leave. The day after tomorrow was her birthday, and Lin Chun had promised to celebrate her birthday with her. Xiaojiao, Brother Long must have something important to do. How can you be so willful? And Yinner lectured in Xiaojiao. Although Brother Long can't celebrate your birthday with you, he will definitely give you a big gift. A gift that only belongs to you. What do you think? Lin Shin smiled and ruffled in Xiaojiao's hair, coaxing her until her eyes lit up. Really, really, I promise. Master seemed to have thought of something and asked seriously, Young Master Long, are you going to participate in the Heavenly Ranking Conference in the Southern region? Lin Chun was startled. What is the Heavenly Ranking Conference? The people of the Infamily were astonished. Is this young Master Long not from the southern region? He doesn't even know about the Heavenly Ranking Conference? Masterin briefly explained the origin of the Heavenly Ranking Conference to Lin Chun. Lin Chin's eyes lit up. On an island in the southern region. Today was an extremely extraordinary day for this island. It was the opening day of the Heaven List Assembly. The geniuses on the genius ranking were also divided into different grades. For example, the geniuses in the top 50,000 and the geniuses in the bottom 50,000 were two completely different grades. As for the Heaven Roll, only the top of the genius roll had the right to participate. Only the top 40,000 geniuses could register. The opening of the Heaven List symbolized the opening of the Rainbow Island. Every year, the winner of the Heaven List Assembly would obtain the quota to enter the Rainbow Island. There were only 4,000 spots, but there were over 10,000 participating geniuses. Rainbow Island was fraught with danger, but it had rare opportunities, odd crystal fragments, rank 8 sacred tools, half-orange grade cultivation techniques, and if one had enough opportunities, they could even obtain orange grade combat skills and complete odd crystals. Every year, the Heaven List Assembly would attract a large number of geniuses within the top 40,000 of the genius ranking to fight for it. In a sea of clouds high up in the sky, there were over 100 figures floating. If one's cultivation had reached a certain level, one would be able to see that there were different types of holy light flowing around these figures. They were all saints. 100 saints had gathered. Such a scene could be said to be hard to come by in 10,000 years. Moreover, a beam of holy light would pass through from time to time, and the number of sages was still increasing. In the arena of the Heaven List Assembly, 2 white-browed elders sat in the arena, stroking their beards and smiling. Both of them were saints. Genius Roll 39850, Fong Mingkong, registering for the Heaven List. Genius Roll 38977, Jian Tai, registering for the Heaven List. Genius Roll 39115, Lien Fengchuan, registering for the Heaven List. Young figures came to the 2 white-browed elders to register, and all of them were top geniuses whose names shook the world. The Genius Roll was the ceiling of the sacred boundaries geniuses, and the Heaven List Assembly was the pinnacle of this ceiling. This time, many of the geniuses nurtured by the Heaven List forces have great potential. Interesting. The geniuses of this generation are much stronger than the ones from our generation. The 2 white-browed elders nodded and laughed. The geniuses who had finished registering all stepped into the void, each occupying a corner, and no one was willing to submit to anyone. They had arrogant expressions, strange phenomena, and extraordinary temperaments. Some had a sword on their back, and tens of thousands of exceptional sword intents were born and extinguished. When the swords were raised, the sun and moon were dim. Some had a saber on their waist, as if they were personally leading the army, and their domineering aura was domineering, as if they were going to rule the world. Some had a jade umbrella in their hands, and their beauty could topple countries and cities. Some had rings on their slender waists, and their snow-white faces were cold and beautiful. Their beauty was indescribable, but they exuded a dangerous aura. Some had a battle spear on their back, and their battle prowess was invincible, and their sharpness was soaring to the sky. Some had empty hands, and they crossed their arms in front of their chests confidently. Their gazes were like swords, and they were overbearing. There were too many geniuses. Comparing the geniuses at the bottom of the genius roll to them was like comparing a baby rabbit to a lion elephant. The former only needed to stomp a weak little rabbit to death, and they could not be compared at all. None of them were ordinary people, and they all came from the top 4th grade sects of the 36 regions, or the legendary 5th grade sects. Rumble. Holy light shone, and the sea of clouds surged. It's my Han Tian Hall's turn to take the first place in this Heaven List Assembly. Rough laughter reverberated in the sky, and a primordial crimson dragon, which was thousands of feet long, surged over from the horizon with a domineering aura. On the dragon's back, A burly middle-aged man with red eyebrows stood proudly. He was domineering and looked down on the world. Behind him was a group of cold-looking young men, and there were as many as 15 of them. Did this mean that there were 15 of the top 40,000 geniuses nurtured by this sect? Fifth-grade sect, Hongtian Hall. The group of geniuses floating in the air revealed different expressions of battle intent and fear as they stared at the 15 people. The 15 geniuses all revealed violent smiles at the same time, and they actually made a throat-slitting gesture in front of everyone who was looking at them. They were extremely arrogant. The atmosphere was abnormally fiery. Although no one spoke, the aura that was brewing was like a barrel of gunpowder that could explode at any moment. You Hongtian Hall are always the ones who fight the most. The two white-browed elders did not know whether to laugh or cry as they registered the 15 people. After the Hongtian Hall's geniuses registered, another young man in linen clothes stood with a sword behind his back. Registration, genius ranking 39999, Ling Jian. After the registration was completed, the two white-browed elders looked at each other. This young man, he doesn't seem to be as simple as his ranking on the surface. The young man left slowly with his sword behind his back. Every step he took was very steady, like a swordsman who had just returned from a long journey in the mortal world. The passing of the mortal world and the boundless mortal world were all in the span of a sword. Before the two elders could recover from their shock, the faint clouds were like an ethereal paradise. As they circulated and reverberated, countless geniuses were stunned. A beauty descended with the wind, and her beauty stunned time. Her brows were like a painting of time. Anyone who looked at her would be able to calm down the thousands of negative emotions in their hearts and return to their original hearts. Simply praising her beauty was already difficult to express the impression she gave people. She was more like a fairy who had descended from the mortal world to deliver all living beings from torment. The beauty's cherry lips opened slightly, and the sound of nature was like the sound of nature. It was pure and light like water, but it was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. Genius ranking 20001, Ning Qingxian, registering for the heaven ranking. The genius's expressions were especially interesting. Chapter 978. A ray of holy light seemed to descend from the 9 heavens, forming layers of cloud ladders. Colorful clouds and multicolored lights descended upon the venue. The cloud ladders were hazy and ethereal. A group of extremely noble young men and women walked down slowly. There were a total of 12 people. The 2 people in the lead were a man and a woman. They were both elegant and beautiful young masters. The beautiful young master swept his gaze across them and released his sword Qi. His aura was like a giant sword that could split the clouds apart. He smiled lightly. As expected, a bunch of ugly melons and dates. Before the beautiful young master finished speaking, he suddenly stared at the beautiful woman in green with a fiery gaze. Hee, senior brother, don't say that. Everyone here is a genius on the genius ranking. The beautiful woman covered her mouth and giggled. When she saw the beautiful young master staring at the beautiful woman in green, a hint of jealousy appeared in her eyes. 5th-rank aristocratic family, the 100 Saints Gate. Some of the geniuses looked serious. The geniuses of this sect were extremely powerful. It was said that when this sect was at its peak, there were hundreds of sages of the same generation. They were extremely glorious. With the inheritance and foundation of this sect, the geniuses they picked were all as strong as monsters. You are Ning Qingxian from the innumerable Green Palace, right? You are indeed a genius. Even this old man is ashamed of his indifference to the world, as expected of a sect with only 1 disciple. The white-browed old man signed Ning Qingxuan's name and clicked his tongue in wonder. Senior, you are exaggerating. This junior has yet to fully immerse herself in the world. There are many things in life, and experiencing them is the best way to cultivate. Ning Qingxian nodded elegantly. It was a simple sentence, but it caused the sages to ponder over it repeatedly. After Ning Qingxian left, the two old men sighed in amazement. Experiencing them is the best way to cultivate. I am so envious of the innumerable green palace. They even managed to find such an amazing woman. On the surface, this sect is only a third-grade organization, but in reality, no one knows what kind of resources they're hiding. Their palace lord lives a simple life and does not seek fame or fortune. Their palace lord's cultivation method is based on one's mental state and talent. This woman is practically a genius tailor-made for their innumerable green palace. When the elegant young master landed on the ground, he reluctantly stared at Ning Qingshuan's back. He shook his head and exclaimed, "Ning Qingxian, is that her name? Senior brother, have you taken a liking to her?" The devastatingly beautiful woman said sourly. Young Master Jia nodded seriously. "Only she is worthy of this young master." Boom! At this moment, a tyrannical aura of qi and blood blazed like holy flames, and a team of iron-blooded dragons appeared. 10 gigantic dragons with bodies that looked as if they were cast from molten iron flew into the sky. Nearly 100 geniuses stood proudly on their backs. All of their vital energy and blood were exuberant like the blazing sun that hung high in the sky, and their breaths were like the breath of ferocious beasts. The aura of their bodies was strong to the point it was like an abyss that covered the heavens and the earth. Most of their battle aura cultivation was only at the 4th tribulation level, but their pure strength was not lower than 99 million dragon power points. Some had scales all over their bodies, and their eyes were red and orange, exuding a ferocious dragon-like aura. Some had skin that was as bright as stars, with domineering tattoos flowing around them. Some had hideous scales all over their bodies, horns on their heads, and bared their teeth. When they raised their eyes, it was as if there was a red light burning between their brows. They were 3 to 4 meters tall and looked ferocious. They were the geniuses from Manyu. A large portion of the top geniuses from Manyu had gathered and appeared together. Their aura was so strong that they dominated a region. The winner of the Heaven List Assembly would obtain one of the 4,000 slots for Rainbow Island. The slots for Rainbow Island were different from other mystic realms. This mystic realm was not controlled by any single organization. Not to mention saints, even the legendary supreme holy kings could not barge in. The Heaven List Assembly was a gathering of geniuses. Every time this event was held, many top geniuses from the 36 regions would be alerted. Other than the top 10,000 geniuses on the genius ranking, at least half of the top 40,000 geniuses would be present. Every year, the Heaven List Assembly was the year with the most changes on the genius ranking. This was because the first condition to participate in the Heaven List Assembly was to bet on one's own ranking. The registration for the Heaven List Assembly was still ongoing. In the secret chamber, Lin Shun was amazed. What a great Heaven List Assembly. Lin Shun can't miss it. The opportunities on Rainbow Island are no small matter. I can pick up great opportunities just by picking up attribute light balls, not to mention the many secret treasures inside. Most importantly, Lin Shin found out that no Saint Stage expert would dare to act presumptuously in the Heavenly Ranking meeting. Lin Shin opened the system. Heavenly Dao Possession System version 6.0 Host Lin Shun Cultivation 2nd Tribulation Combat Emperor Advanced Essence 886,600 points, about to break through to the 3rd Tribulation Combat Emperor. Host, please be prepared to face the Heavenly Tribulation. Limit Strength 49 million Dragon Power. Advanced Chi and Blood 757, 566 points. Advanced Spirit 495 points. Complete Heaven Ascension Realm. Advanced Cultivation Soul Essence 6,970 points. Advanced Rune Energy 1,280 points. Intermediate Heavenly Dao points 7,551 points. Intermediate Talent points 2,410 points. Blank Attributes 1, 23,000 points. Strengthening points 6,840,000 points. Advanced elemental energy, 215 points of fire, 181 points of earth, 140 points of wood, 195 points of metal, 188 points of water, 181 points of lightning, 174 points of wind, 199 points of light, 121 points of dark. Cultivation method status column, open or not. Bloodline status column, open or not. Passive talent column. Green, dual cultivation acacia. Purple, assault. Purple, laceration. Orange, fragment of the supreme god possession. 2/4. Sure kill skill column, open or not. Active talents. Purple rank, thieving omen. Purple rank, fatal bloodlust. Purple rank. Superdimensional transfer. Purple rank, final moment. Purple rank, ultimate return. Purple rank, sovereign's descent. Quasi. Orange rank, absolute life and death. Orange rank, split shadow. Orange rank, godslayer. Orange rank, heaven defying. 1/2. Fragment attribute rune column, open or not. Talent combination skill, open or not. This time, the attribute value had increased by several times compared to the previous time. After killing so many battle emperors and picking up their attributes, Lin Shen had finally accumulated enough attribute points to meet the requirement to upgrade the function. System, I want to upgrade the strengthening function. Consumed 3 million strengthening points, 5,000 high-grade cultivation technique soul essences, and 6,000 mid-grade heaven's path points. Upgrade successful. Host cultivation techniques can be upgraded to +15, and the cost of upgrading is reduced by 15%. Lin Shen's painstakingly accumulated 3 million strengthening points were gone in an instant. However, he did not feel any heartache, because what came next was the highlight of the show. After removing the strengthening limit, his foundation would definitely soar by another wave. Note, when the host achieves a breakthrough in the grade of a battle technique, the strengthening will be based on the grade after the breakthrough. The strengthening points will be consumed accordingly. It's here. Don't worry about anything else. Just follow the cultivation method and become F*King strong. Lin Shen excitedly clicked on the 9 calamities of creation cultivation method and strengthened it one by one. Consumed 18,450 strengthening points. Strengthening plus 14 9 calamities of creation cultivation method is successful. Power increase 80%. Boom. Endless 9 calamities origin battle aura surged in Lin Shen's body and rose to a whole new level. Lin Shen was dumbfounded. This F*King happiness came too suddenly. The first strengthening after the upgrade was a success. Chapter 979. Plus 14 9 calamities of creation mental cultivation method. Overall power increase 320%. Mental cultivation method strengthening would cause the 9 calamities origin battle chi to transform. At the same time, it would also increase the usage time of the 9 calamities star. This was also the reason why Lin Shen could only use the 9 calamities star once every 3 days. Now, he only needed half a day to use it twice. Based on this trend, once he reaches plus 15, Lin Shen might be able to use the ultimate move 9 tribulations stars twice in a day. This was something that he did not even dare to think about in the past. Consumed 26,580 enhancement points. Upgrade failed. Lin Shen used the mental cultivation method 10 times in a row, but all of them failed. He had lost 270,000 enhancement points. No, the cost of upgrading is too high. Also, the chance of plus 15 is too low. I can't rely on luck alone. I still have 57 million enhancement points left. I need to choose the most stable way to increase my strength. After the painful result of almost losing everything, Lin Shen did not plan to use mental cultivation method strengthening. Although it was the biggest step to increase his strength, the probability was too low. It could cause him to lose everything. System, I want to learn the half-orange tier archery skill, Lucky Feather. Consumed 34 high-tier skill essence. Beginning to fuse cultivation memories. Lin Shen's doppelgangers help him fuse the cultivation memories. Lin Shun continued to upgrade. Lin Shun used 24 million enhancement points to upgrade Sky Riding to plus 13. Increase 240%. Although he had failed many times, Lin Shun was still considered lucky. Sky Riding contained a half-orange tier spear technique and a half-orange tier defensive skill. It was equivalent to Lin Shun suddenly having two half-orange tier skills at plus 13. After using 33 million enhancement points, Lin Shun upgraded Genesis Holy Scripture to plus 14. Lin Shun's control of his spiritual power had increased. Under the condition that his spiritual power recovered fast enough, Lin Shun truly possessed the spiritual power of a saint-tier alchemist. And if he used Annihilation again, its power would definitely skyrocket. In the end, when all the strengthening points were used up, Lin Shun's 9 Calamities of Creation plus 14, Taisher Bible plus 14, Imperial plus 13, and Dragon Flash plus 14. Lin Shun's strength had increased explosively. Lin Shun's defense and speed had increased by leaps and bounds, especially when it came to his survivability. Now that he had Sky Ride plus 13 and Dragon Flash plus 14, his defense and speed had increased by leaps and bounds. I still have 23 million blank attribute points, just in case. I can convert them into strengthening points at any time. The family's influence is weak. Forget it. Let's help them again. After Lin Shun finished fusing with his cultivation memories, his avatar began to take out hundreds of pill furnaces from the peach blossom pouch. With the strengthening from the Genesis Holy Scripture, Lin Shun's mind control became even more extraordinary. The phenomenon of the finished holy pill would burst the peach blossom plant pouch. This time, he was going to refine a special level 8 embryonic pill, which originated from the Cloud Sky Pill Saints records. Lin Shun only had 2 level 8 pill recipes. One was the Sacred Heart Fulling Pill from before, which could recover a large amount of Saint Chi and efficiently heal the injuries of the saint body. It was the pill that Lin Shun gave to the little fairy. The other was the Heavenly Gate Sage Pill, which was related to becoming a saint. Firstly, it was to repay the family's favor. Secondly, it was to test out his current alchemy foundation. Endless medicinal herbs gathered in the pill furnace. This time, Lin Shun's alchemy was extremely smooth. The alchemy that originally required more than half a month was completed in less than a day with the perfect cooperation of his avatar. During this period, the pure gold tree that had been watered with all the heavenly one holy water entered a state of rapid growth, rushing to its peak with irresistible force. 2 days later at night, Bin family held a small banquet. Today was the birthday of their daughter, and Xiaojiao. Many people from Yin family gathered at the top floor of the tallest restaurant in Dragon Elephant City. In the end, young Master Long still left. Bin family's patriarch side. His origin is extremely extraordinary. Naturally, it's not at a level that we can touch. And Yinner smiled sweetly, but it was difficult to conceal the sadness in her beautiful eyes. And Xiaojiao was even more listless. She lay on the table and muttered, "So what if he left after spending my birthday with me? He said he would give me a unique gift. It's almost past midnight, and there's nothing. Oomph, men are all pig trotters." And Xiaojiao looked at the jade box in her hand. This was the jade box that Brother Long had given her before leaving. It was said that he would give her a unique gift. Furthermore, Long Chenhua isn't on the genius ranking. And Yinner stared into the distance thoughtfully. On Purgatory Volcano Island, a dark shadow silently snuck into the island. It ignored the spatial barrier and smoothly entered. The dark shadow wrapped around Lin Shun and grinned. "Wonderful. The spatial barrier here doesn't pose any hindrance to this little fellow at all." On the volcano island, there were hundreds and thousands of active volcanoes that flowed with multicolored flames and lava. Towering volcanoes stood in all directions. They were majestic and domineering, and the ground and mountains were scarlet red. Only the crater of the volcano was burning with multicolored flames and mist. The faint afterglow of the flames shot into the 9 heavens, illuminating the splendid scene of the rising clouds and rosy clouds. It dyed the sky into a multicolored flow of multicolored light. At the top of the volcano's crater, fist-sized flame beads were piled up with multicolored light. Ultimate moment. 7-layer transformations. A faint green light circulated around Lin Chen's body. Water calamity battle. Qi covered his entire body, blocking the berserk heat. Just the heat of the still volcano is so terrifying. If it hits the crater, even the holy energy of the sage realm might not be able to completely block it. Lin Chen was secretly shocked. He quickly rushed to the crater of a volcano. The crater was full of multicolored flame beads piled up like a small mountain. Lin Chen picked up a multicolored flame bead and magically found that the multicolored brilliance overflowing from the flame bead enveloped him in little shadow. It turned the terrifying heat emitted by the volcanoes into a warm temperature that didn't harm them. This is a burning flame bead, one of the important energy condensed objects to condense odd crystals. Take it away. Take it all away. Lin Shan was delighted and took away all the burning flame beads in the crater of the volcano. After taking away the burning flame beads, red lava flowed at the bottom of the volcano, and Lin Chen's eyes lit up because under the underground lava, there were several multicolored flame beads that were dozens of times brighter than ordinary burning flame beads. In addition, there were hundreds of attribute bubbles. Each attribute bubble had tens of thousands of values engraved on it. They were special attribute values for creating killing skills. It's the burning flame sacred pearl. Whether or not I can create a complete odd crystal depends on it. There are also large amounts of special attribute values. Damn, I'm rich this time. Lin Shun was ecstatic. His body technique flashed, and when he sneaked inside, the temperature began to skyrocket. Gee! Lin Shen's clothes began to catch fire. Not good. The burning flame bead can't completely ignore this temperature. Lin Shun immediately retreated and almost became a roasted pig. No wonder the Saint Realm had to personally come and pick the burning flame sacred pearl. This temperature is too abnormal. Wouldn't I not even be able to get special attribute values? Not to mention the burning flame sacred pearl used to cultivate odd crystals. Lin Chen frowned. The temperature of the Purgatory volcano was too terrifying. It was worthy of the name Purgatory. If he barged in, he would probably die. Should he steal all the burning flame beads and leave? Or should he take a risk? There will be experts patrolling the Purgatory volcano regularly. If they discover that the burning flame beads have been stolen, it won't be long before a Saint Realm arrives. The energy of a burning flame sacred pearl is equivalent to thousands of ordinary burning flame beads. It's the most important resource for cultivating odd crystals. Just the burning flame beads aren't enough. I don't have enough time to try. If I want to do it, I'll do it big. Lin Chen's eyes flashed with a crazy light. A shocking plan began to take shape in his mind. If he couldn't go down to the crater to take the burning flame sacred pearl, why not let it spit it out by itself? Let the other party spit out. This is my specialty, ha ha ha. Chapter 980. In the Chun family's lofty pavilion. Why? We've been searching for so many days, but there's no trace of them at all. Under the condition that the innate darkness shadow hasn't recovered, do you think they can escape under our noses? The Black Horse Club only needs to detect a trace of their aura to know their location. There's also a possibility that he's already dead. I've already mobilized all the combat emperors that I can mobilize. As long as he's dead, we'll definitely be able to find his corpse. I heard that a wealthy junior has appeared in Dragon Elephant City recently. Should we investigate? It's unlikely that he's from the Black Horse Club. Even with Long King Wo, the innate Dark Shadow can't recover so quickly. Without the Dark Shadow race, it's impossible for them to take such a swaggering action. While the Dark Pavilion sages and the Chun family's saints were still discussing, a figure suddenly barged in and stammered. Patriarchs, this is bad. Something has happened on the Purgatory Volcano Island. The two saints' expressions changed abruptly. The night was enchanting. The huge city near Dragon Elephant City was brightly lit and bustling with people. Boom! Suddenly, the space vibrated, and a violent sound of air exploding reverberated in the sky. A five-colored flame shot up into the sky. What's going on? It seems to be in the direction of the Purgatory volcano. Hiss! Could it be an eruption? Impossible. How can the volcano erupt with the two saints patriarchs of the Chun family holding the fort? While countless experts were shocked and doubtful, the flames shot up into the sky, reaching tens of thousands of feet into the sky. Countless people in the huge city could see it clearly. Under everyone's watchful eyes, the five-colored flame reached its peak and suddenly exploded. Whoosh! Bang! The fiery light exploded, and thousands upon thousands of colorful lights scattered in all directions. It was like a heavenly maiden scattering flowers, fluttering and fluttering in the wind, forming the most beautiful scene in the world. Countless people were stunned. The explosion of the Purgatory volcano's flame was simply breathtaking. Everyone from the family, who was on the top floor of the restaurant in Dragon Elephant City, witnessed this scene clearly for the first time. That's the Purgatory volcano's flame. Oh my God. Patriarch and was dumbfounded, and Yin'er and Xiaojiao suddenly trembled as they thought of something. Could it be? While the two girls' hearts were pounding, a hearty laughter spread over thousands of miles away through battle chi at a speed dozens of times faster than the speed of sound. Only fireworks of this level are worthy of my Black Horse Club. Ha! Bang! 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 As the young man laughed, a few more beams of fire shot into the sky and exploded in the nine heavens. It was dazzling, and it shocked countless people. What kind of monsters are these little bastards from the Black Horse Club? Lin Shun had just broken through to the second Tribulation Combat Emperor, and now the Shintoka Show has broken through to the third Tribulation Combat Emperor. He's using the Tribulation Cloud to deal with us again. The Saint Realm expert of the Hidden Pavilion gritted his teeth. The Pavilion Master Ing Mie's face was as dark as water, and his expression became more and more solemn. The situation is not good. Not only does he want to use the Tribulation Cloud to deal with us, but he also wants to use it to make us hesitate and occupy all the resources of the Purgatory volcano. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Another group of Saint Realm experts tore through the void and arrived. It was Lian Wanjin, Qin Jintian, Ing Tianma, and the evil sect Saint Realm experts. Before the Saint Realm experts who arrived could understand the situation, Lin Shun stood at the mouth of the volcano and smiled coquettishly. He was holding a ball of lightning formed by water and thunder battle chi. I like to spray the most. Ha! Shoot him! Lin Shun threw the water and thunder battle chi into the mouth of the volcano. With a swoosh, the lava in the volcano suddenly exploded. Bang! A beam of five-colored flames shot up and threw out the sacred burning flame pearl inside. In Lin Shen's view, there were bubbles of special attributes shooting out all over the sky. Oh no, retreat first. Ingmia shouted coldly and retreated quickly. One of the Chun family patriarchs gritted his teeth, stepped into the void, and rushed over rapidly. 1,000 beams of holy light appeared all over his body. His holy power was as deep as the sea, and he forcibly resisted the burning of the flames. Bang! Fiery light exploded in the nine heavens, magnificent and magnificent. Those sacred burning flame pearls fell down. The slightly burned Chun family patriarch wanted to use his movement technique to snatch back the sacred burning flame pearl. Lin Shin stepped on Dragon Flash and flapped his great flame phoenix wings. Little Shadow helped him travel through the void, and his speed was extremely fast. A flash of white lightning shot out in an instant and took a few turns to snatch the sacred burning flame pearl in the void. Damn it, you're courting death. The Chun family patriarch was furious. He wanted to kill Lin Shun with one slap, and a dangerous opportunity appeared in his heart. Boom! the heavenly tribulation descended and targeted Lin Chun. This was a wisp of golden flames that contained the might to incinerate the world. Oh no, the heavenly tribulation is going to lock onto me. Is this brat's plan? The Chun family patriarch was covered in cold sweat. He immediately retracted his palm and retreated. 1,000-foot golden flame tornado shot towards Lin Chun. He casually stepped on it, and little shadow traveled through the void, easily dodging it. The next moment, Lin Chun flicked his fingers, and balls of lightning tribulation and water tribulation battle aura shot into the mouth of the volcano, igniting more volcanic lava that had accumulated for a long time. The two Chun family patriarchs were shocked. This brat is serious. Lin Chun smiled and stepped on Dragon Flash like a white dragon, easily dodging the heavenly tribulation's bombardment. Bang! 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 The purgatory volcano continued to erupt, and 5-colored flames shot into the sky. The Shintoku Sho stood not far away from the sages. The 5-colored flames made him look extraordinarily handsome. He took a small stride in the void, and his smug laughter spread in all directions. Thousands of miles away, Walala, in the clubhouse, a handsome guy running along. Little shadow bragging, the silhouette under the fireworks is beautiful. I use fireworks to write a diary. After introducing the handsome guy, it's my turn to introduce myself, seeing the Shintoku Sho singing and dancing under the 5-colored brilliance. The sages' mouths twitched. Chapter 981. There's something strange over there. Isn't that the direction of the Chun family's purgatory volcano island? The black-clothed old woman who was stealthily moving through the void suddenly narrowed her eyes. She felt a violent fluctuation of fire energy and pulled Sun Yu along as she rushed over. Bang! Another spatial crack shattered, and a group of people appeared, following closely behind the old woman in black, causing her to be extremely shocked. King Fu Sheng, Poison Saint? You guys are here too. The newcomers were King Fu Sheng and the two old ancestors, as well as the 7th and 6th princesses. They had been searching for the Jundak Shui for the past few days, and when they saw that the Chun family's territory had issued an arrest warrant, they had been searching the area for a long time. Looks like we're heading in the same direction. King Fu Sheng exchanged a look with the other party, and both parties headed towards the Purgatory Volcano Island at top speed. Bang! At this time, the Purgatory Volcano Island exploded with dazzling fireworks. It was beautiful, and the colorful flames scattered in all directions, making it look like a fairyland. What is this? So beautiful, the 7th princess, 6th princess, and Sun Yuer exclaimed in unison. Only fireworks of this level are worthy of my Black Horse Club. Huh. The young man's laughter shook the sea, and the Poison Saint and the king were shocked. Black Horse Club? It's them. But what made their hair stand on end was the first 2 words. Fireworks? Dragon Elephant City, Big Dipper City, Constellation City, and other cities, billions of residents left their lofts, and most of them stepped into the air. They stared blankly at the beautiful 5-colored fireworks in the sky. This was the most beautiful scene they had ever seen in their lives, and almost everyone forgot what they were thinking as they were captivated by the fireworks. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And Xiaojiao, who was standing on the top floor of the pavilion, felt her heart palpitate. Her beautiful eyes flashed with extraordinary splendor as she stared blankly. Could this be Brother Long's birthday present for me? And Xiaojiao was overjoyed. This was indeed a unique gift in the world. Using the Purgatory Volcano as a firework. Who else in this family would be so extravagant? Just now, they said it was the Black Horse Club. Indeed, he for the Black Horse Club. And Yenner's beautiful eyes were filled with worship. It was too heaven-defying. In a situation where he was wanted everywhere and was being pursued by the Sage Realm experts, he was still able to sneak into the Purgatory Volcano. At this moment, the youth's coquettish laughter continued to resound from the Purgatory Volcano Island. Although I'm handsome, I really don't want to act cool. Why do we have to set off fireworks? Because fighting is harmful to the body. Many people don't have eyes and rely on their power to be arrogant. If they're alone, they'll shrink back and become cowards. Hee hee. Tens of thousands of Chun clan battle emperors felt their scalps go numb. How was he able to sing leisurely while igniting the purgatory volcano? Was he still human? Could it be that even the two ancestors couldn't stop the Black Horse Club? Coquettish laughter followed. Acting tough is full again, 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 acting tough is full again. All of you, come at me together. Acting tough is in a hurry. The audience is tired of fighting every day. Brother Machine is also tired. Acting tough is full again, acting tough is full again. The chorus is not long. All of you can come at me together. Acting tough is calling me. The beauties need me. The club is very busy on the Purgatory Volcano Island. A large number of attribute bubbles fell into Lin Shen's body and were absorbed by him or by the Dragon Emperor. The two Sage Realm ancestors of the Chun clan were on the verge of collapse. Host received 400,000 points of Purgatory Flame, 500,000 points of Purgatory Flame, 800,000 points of Purgatory Flame. The heavenly tribulation bombarded and the shadows shrouded. Lin Shen's footwork was like the devil's friction, like the dragon shadow, and he snatched the sacred burning flame pearls one by one. The way he handled it with ease, making Tianma seethe with anger. If I act cool seriously, thousands of girls will fall for me. I even take bubble baths when I take baths, because I can play with toys. I have a kind heart, so I only play with bragging. Oh, I try to stay handsome when I fall, looking at the singing and dancing Shintoka show in front of them. The sage's veins were bulging, and they were so angry that their mouths were crooked. The two elders of the Chun clan almost fainted. King call this kind? Hearing the laughter of the Shintoka show, the Chun clan master, who was at the peak of the Fifth Tribulation Combat Emperor, had just arrived. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling, and his face was pale. The gun muzzle doesn't have eyes, I promised the director. Unless it is absolutely necessary, I will try my best not to shoot fireworks. Lin Shen pointed at the Chun clan master, who was so angry that his face was pale, and smiled coquettishly. Clan master, give me a milkshake first, please, before I run for my life, and feed my little shadow, hee hee. Lin Shan flapped his great flame phoenix wings again, and when he dodged the bombardment of the heavenly tribulation, he quickly flicked his fingers and detonated 10 volcanoes in one breath. His laughter was like thunder. Acting tough is full again, 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 acting tough is full again. All of you come together. Acting tough is in a hurry. The audience is tired of fighting every day. Lin Shan is also tired. Acting tough is full again, acting tough is full again. The chorus is not long. All of you can come together. Acting tough, call me. The beauty needs me. The club is very busy. This was 2F** King intolerable. They could only watch a combat emperor plunder the Chun clan's millions of years of accumulation, but they couldn't do anything about it. Was there anything more F** up, more aggrieved, and more infuriating in this world? Previously, the Chun clan ancestor had tried to block the volcanic crater, not giving Lin Shan a chance to detonate the lava. Who knew that this guy would directly lead the heavenly tribulation over, and as long as he dared to block it, he would become the target of the heavenly tribulation. If a Saint Realm expert was targeted by the heavenly tribulation, its power would definitely increase exponentially. There was a risk of dying at any moment. Rumble. At the south side of the Purgatory Volcano Island, a group of figures rushed over through the void. It was the king and Poison Seiju. Both sides released their saint power to protect their juniors. They saw a young man with a tribulation cloud above his head flashing through the sea of fire on the Purgatory Volcano Island. This is... The king's mouth twitched. The two Saint Realm ancestors beside him were so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell to the ground. These little fellows are going to pierce through the heavens. Poison Seiju's eyebrows twitched violently. Wasn't that the lava of the Purgatory volcano? Who the F CK would use that as a firework? The 7 heretical Saint Realm experts were terrified. Not only was he snatching food from the tiger's mouth, but he was also able to pass the tribulation with ease. What the F CK? There was actually such a powerful combat emperor in this world. If he became a Saint Realm expert, wouldn't he be able to secure a spot on the Demon Genius list? Host has received 800,000 points of heaven-burning purgatory fire, 500,000 points of heaven-burning purgatory fire. For points of high-grade fire energy, 3 points of high-grade fire energy. Consumed 20 mid-grade Heaven's Path points, 28 million points of heaven-burning purgatory fire. Created heaven-burning purgatory fire, twice. What he gained was not only special attribute points and Sacred Flame Pearl, but also a large amount of high-grade fire energy. Acting tough is full again, 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 acting tough is full again. All of you, come at me together. There's no time to act cool. The audience is tired of fighting every day. Lin Shun is also tired. Acting tough is full again, acting tough is full again. The chorus is not long. All of you can come me together. Acting tough, call me. Pretty girls need me. I'm very busy. In the midst of Lin Feng's coquettish singing and dancing, the group of Sage Realm experts felt even worse than the anger they had suffered in their entire lives. That night, countless people looked up at the starry sky and saw the most beautiful scene in their lives. As for the Chen family, they were wailing in grief. Perhaps from a moment Chen Wuming plotted against Qin Miao, and her sister, this calamity was destined to be unavoidable. When dawn arrived, the tribulation clouds slowly dissipated. The energy of the Purgatory Volcano Island was almost completely exhausted. It was unknown which brother wrote down this moment in the history books. Green ink spilled rapidly. The brush moved on a jade scroll, and the brush stopped to drink tea. He looked up to the sky and sighed. Among the many prosperous and exciting histories of the Southern Mountain Range, this is another strong stroke. The Black Horse Club's Shintoku show was truly a show. Chapter 982. It was late at night. This was a historic night for the Chun family. The Purgatory Volcano Island was used as a firework by a handsome guy. However, because of this, the attention of the entire Chun family was attracted by the Purgatory Volcano Island. Zhenda Ying, Zhenda Chong, and Zhendak Shuai, who were hiding in the depths, were waiting for an opportunity to make a move. In the 3 palaces, the 5 Fourth Tribulation Battle Emperors stared at the colorful fireworks in a daze. Their eyes were filled with despair. The accumulation of the Chun family was about to be destroyed. They would suffer a great loss this time. The 3 shadows concealed their auras and sneaked into the palace. A dark horse appears and attacks from the back. Let's deal with him. Lin Shenzing, Chong, and Shuai clones rushed into the palace. It was divided into 9 floors, and each floor was more precious than the previous one. For the convenience of their disciples, the Chen family's treasure pavilion, skill hall, and elixir hall didn't set up a spatial barrier. If a spatial barrier was set up, it would require special permission to open the 3 halls, which was extremely troublesome for the core disciples of the Chun family. Moreover, because of the Purgatory Volcano Island, the Chun family needed 2 saints to guard it all year round. They never thought that outsiders would dare to approach their headquarters without permission, so they were even more relaxed. Wherever the 3 clones went, everything was taken away like a gust of wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. Alchemy handprints, combat skills, cultivation methods, elixir recipes, herbs, and rare ores. Everything was available. Zhendak Shuai pushed open a room with a spatial barrier, and the counters inside were flickering with spatial light. I see. A spatial barrier is only set up on the 8th floor. Zhendak Shuai rubbed his hands and chuckled. The 8th and 9th floors were full of precious resources, such as 8th grade heaven and earth treasures, 8th grade saint ores, peak 7th grade weapons, peak 7th grade elixirs, odd crystal fragments, rare cultivation methods, and so on. The precious treasures on the 8th and ninth floors condensed a small spatial barrier, and even a saint would have to spend a lot of effort to break it open. Even if it was broken open, it would be discovered by the saint guarding the Chun family. Jundak Shui stroked the counter that was flickering with spatial light and couldn't help but sigh. Our club can't have people who rely on our elders. You should be like me, getting rich with your own hands. After that, the Jundak Shui activated the decomposition function, and the bottle of phantom heart pills on the counter disappeared. Consumed 0.5 intermediate heavens path points to decompose 13 peak grade 7 pills, illusory heart pills. Received 4 advanced spiritual energy. This feeling of getting rich through hard work is great. Jundak Shui sighed. Then he stretched out his lascivious hands and began to rely on my own 2 hands to get rich. He ignored the spatial barrier and frantically disintegrated it. Consumed 3 Heavens Tao points to decompose 7 types of top-grade purple-ranked mental cultivation techniques. Holy Fall True Fire and Thousand Wind Hurricane. Obtained 9 high-grade cultivation techniques soul essences, 1 high-grade wind energy. Consumed 5 heavenly Tao points to decompose level, 8 sacred materials, 9 pattern meteorite iron, true dragon blood, orange starstone. Obtained 6 high-grade metal type energy for high-grade fire type energy. Consumption, decompose. Decompose. It was all decomposition. The 8th and ninth floors of the 3 halls, as well as all the treasures of the Chun family, were swept away by the 3 clones. Not even a strand of hair was left. The Sage Realm old ancestors had thought that the space enchantments were incomparably safe. However, they hadn't even moved. Instead, they had been completely disintegrated by the avatars. If it was in the past, not to mention the Saint Realm, even the patrolling elders would have discovered it. But at this moment, everyone's attention was attracted by the phenomenon on the Purgatory Volcano Island. Be it the Chun family or outsiders, no one could take their eyes off it. The 2 Saint Realm patriarchs of the Chun family had already left, and the clones had entered an uninhabited area. Consumed 10 heavenly Tao points to decompose half orange-grade cultivation technique, underworld sword technique. Obtained 45 high-grade cultivation technique soul essences, 3 high-grade spiritual energy. Consumed 13 heavenly Tao points to decompose level 8 embryonic pill. Obtained 11 high-grade spiritual energy, 25 high-grade wood energy. Even level 8 embryonic pills and half orange-grade cultivation techniques were destroyed by the clones. They were not polite at all. They were going to split them up. Since I can't take them away, why not decompose them into attribute points for me to use? Consumed 28 heavenly Tao points to decompose odd crystal fragment, heavenly Tao thunder dipper. Obtained 120 high-grade thunder energy, special attribute points. Meteor thunder dipper 76 million. Consumed 25 heavenly Tao points to decompose odd crystal fragment, water spirit azure sea. Obtained 95 high-grade water energy, special attribute points. Clear sky azure sea 73 million. The clone even decomposed 2 extremely high-quality odd crystal fragments on the 9th floor, and the elemental attribute points made people gasp. Lin Shin's high-grade thunder energy was only at 181 points, and now it soared to 301 points. It was equivalent to a 3/5 increase. What a pity. These 2 odd crystal fragments are close to a quarter of a complete low-grade odd crystal. If I could refine one, the high-grade elemental attribute points I obtained would not be so simple. It would be enough to increase my cultivation technique by another level. The clone lamented in his heart. These 2 odd crystal fragments were more than twice the size of the ones he obtained in the past. After sweeping through the treasures in the 3 halls, the clones gathered and looked at each other. The only flaw in this robbery was that they couldn't discover the location of the Chun family's fortune spirit plant. However, even if they discovered it, the clone couldn't get close. There must be a large spatial enchantment in that area. If they wanted to sneak in, they would need Little Shadow's help. But once Little Shadow left the main body, Lin Shun would lose the ability to deal with the saints and would definitely die. I've decomposed everything. Let's go. The illusion rune was removed, and the 3 clones disappeared. As the 1,000 illusion mask was dropped from the attribute treasure chest, it returned to the system space as soon as the clone was removed. After this robbery, the Chun family would definitely suffer heavy losses. The Fortune Spirit plant could produce cultivation resources, but couldn't produce cultivation techniques or battle skills. Although after countless years of cultivation, most of the Chun family's cultivation techniques and battle skills have been cultivated by the elders, and they could completely re-engrave them with battle chi and mental strength. But this process would take at least thousands of years, especially for half-orange grade cultivation techniques. The number of cultivators could be counted on one hand. The most important thing was still the Purgatory Volcano Island. This area was enough to benefit the upper echelons of the Chun family, and it was both a dangerous and a blessed area. After today, its energy would be exhausted and it would have to go through 1,000,000 years of silence. Otherwise, it would be impossible to produce the sacred burning flame pearl. When dawn came, the Purgatory Volcano Island gradually calmed down. Patriarch and was still shocked and swallowed his saliva. So that young Master Long has such a background. Without a doubt, that young Master Long was the Shintoku Sho. After igniting the Chun family's Purgatory Volcano Island, it wouldn't take long for his name to spread in the southern region. And Xiaojiao's beautiful eyes were filled with admiration. This birthday gift would be engraved in her mind for the rest of her life. Right, that jade box. And Yenner came back to her senses and slowly opened the jade box left by Lin Shun for Xiaojiao. Inside the jade box, there was actually a sealed medicinal pill. When they saw the pill, Patriarch and Yenner felt as if they were struck by lightning. Their scalps went numb. An 8th grade embryonic pill. He actually gave the family an 8th grade embryonic pill. This was really extravagant. Chapter 983. There's also a note and a jade slip, and Yenner picked up the note left in the jade box. This pill is for everyone in the family. Strength is the foundation of the world. This 8th grade embryonic pill is called the Broken Golden Saint Origin Pill. There's a pill nurturing method in the jade slip. After a 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor consumes it, the pill can be stored in his body. He can use his battle chi to nurture the pill and refine it with his cultivation base. When the pill is nurtured into a Saint Origin pill, there's a 1 to 30% chance of becoming a Saint Origin pill. Even if he fails to break through, he won't lose his life. The pill's efficacy will still bring him many benefits. Let's meet again by chance. And Yenner and Master and trembled in fear. This Shintoku Sho not only left behind an 8th grade embryonic pill, but also a heaven-defying opportunity to break through to the Saint Origin realm. This opportunity was enough to alarm a Saint Origin realm expert. This pill nurturing method was the greatest treasure Lin Shun had obtained from the Cloud Sky Pill Saint's Medicine Refining Handbook. Master An's cultivation base had been stuck at the 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor for many years. This embryonic pill might be the best opportunity to break through the family's predicament. Only a force with a Saint Origin realm expert was qualified to gain a foothold in the sacred boundary. He's really the greatest benefactor of our family. Rumble. Somewhere in the sea, a wave of air streaked across the sky. The dragon shadow was as fast as the aurora. This is the cultivation base of a 3 Tribulation Battle Emperor. Ha! With my full speed and little dark shadow, even many Saint Origin realm experts can't catch up with me. How satisfying. Lin Shun laughed heartily. Now that he had removed the 1,000 illusion mask and revealed his true face, there was no need to hide anymore. 1,000 miles behind him, 19 Saint Origin realm experts were surrounding him in a fan-shaped formation. There were also 4 saints, including the monarch. 23 Saint Origin realm experts were chasing Lin Shun. It was a strange and rare scene. This time, we can't let this group of brats escape. Everyone, show us what you've got. Ing Mie transmitted his voice to everyone. Lien Wanjin and the other Saint Origin Realm experts finally showed a serious expression. First, Lien Wanjin, who was the president of the Grade 4 Chamber of Commerce, summoned a green jade Saint Gourd. He activated his Saint energy and stepped on the gourd, increasing his speed by more than 30%. Qin Jintian took out a blood-colored flying sword. Although the sword might wasn't strong, it had the speed of shuttling through the void. Stepping on the flying sword, his speed increased explosively as he flew towards Lin Chun. Ingmie bit the tip of his tongue, causing saintly blood to flow out. He formed a series of hand seals, and a pair of blood-red bat wings spread out from his back. His murderous aura surged like a tide, and with a slight flap of his wings, a series of sonic booms erupted. Every time he traveled through the void, his speed was 50% faster than before. The various Saint Realm experts finally stopped holding back. The repeated failures had made them realize how difficult it was to deal with the Black Horse Club and the innate Dark Shadow. If they were allowed to escape again this time, with the Southern Domain's vast territory and vast resources, it would probably really be difficult to find them again. Just as the Saints were about to approach Lin Chun and attack him, the strange phenomenon suddenly changed. TSK. Bang! Thunderclouds exploded above his head, and raging waves rolled up in all directions. The thousand-layer storm was like a spinning-top tornado, burning the purgatory-like sea of fire into a ring of fire, locking onto all the Sage Realm experts who were chasing after him. Host has activated 8 types of 10 advanced blue-rank sure-kill skills. Targets hostile to Host within a radius of 10,000 miles have been locked onto. Initiating bombardment. Lin Chun had released 10 advanced blue-rank sure-kill skills in one go. After collecting the auction price, looting the Hell Volcano Island, and looting the Chun family, he now had 32 advanced blue-rank sure-kill skills. This was unprecedented. Because of this, he only had 390 intermediate heavenly path points left. Damn it, it's these strange attacks again. Damn it, we have to endure it and chase after him. Even if we're injured, we have to chase after him. He's flying in the direction of the Heaven Roll Assembly. Don't let him succeed. Ingmie shouted. Apart from the 7 heretical saints, all the other saints unleashed their saint power and holy light. They used all their trump cards to block the attacks of the sure-kill skills. The 2 patriarchs of the Chun family wanted nothing more than to drink Lin Chen's blood. Even if their saint bodies were injured, they still had to chase after him. However, although the pursuit did not stop, the speed had slowed down and the distance between the 2 parties was increasing. What a terrifying attack. This kid can probably escape even without our help. Poison Seiji, you frowned. The young people of the Black Horse Club had overturned her knowledge again and again. He's the deputy director of the Black Horse Club who killed the Dragon Prince, Lin Chun. Even I would have been injured by such an attack. That's not right. What a strange energy. It can't be avoided and can be locked onto. Can't even travel through space to avoid it. What kind of technique is this? The king was stunned. The Black Horse Club's trump cards were getting more and more ridiculous. The 2 Saint Stage Elders of the Fu Saint country were shocked. When this earth-shattering pursuit swept across the sky, countless powerful cultivators were alerted. Oh my God, Saint Stage, it's a group of Saint Stage cultivators? What's going on? A group of Saint Stage cultivators chasing after one person? Countless powerful cultivators saw the afterimages exploding in the sky. They gasped and ran for their lives. Southern region, Northern Spirit City. This was a small city with a population of 10 million. On the street, a kind old man was holding a bunch of candy berries and smiling. In front of him was a girl with a cute ponytail in a one-piece dress. Her beautiful eyes stared at the strings of ice candy berries, and crystal-clear saliva flowed out of her mouth. Little girl, do you want some? It's 10 spirit crystals for 1, the old man smiled. The little girl was stunned and said awkwardly, but I don't have any spirit crystals. The old man was stunned. This little girl's clothes were not ordinary. She didn't even have any spirit crystals? Well, if you really want to eat. The old man's heart softened. Just as he was about to give her a bunch, a gust of wind blew past. Whoosh! Boom! A terrifying sonic boom exploded in the sky, scaring all the people in the Northern Spirit City and causing them to tremble in fear. They were still in shock. Only the little girl suddenly raised her head, and a flash of light flashed across her gem-like eyes. This aura is its master. Why is master here? I'll leave first. The little girl reached out and grabbed the dozens of candy berries. She threw a few dozen shiny silver St. Origin coins to the old man, who was still in shock. Her little hand instantly crushed a red flame talisman, and she disappeared in a flash of red light. The old man looked at the silver St. Origin coins in his arms and couldn't recover for a long time. I've already used 2 waves of killing moves and even took out my spatial sacred item. They're going all out to catch me. Lin Shan frowned. He activated Dragon Flash to the maximum and controlled the layers of Dragon Shadow. Little Dark Shadow also began to speed up desperately. Swoosh! Suddenly, a red light shot toward him, and Lin Shan was so scared that he almost took out his gun. Master, I miss you so much. A petite figure jumped into Lin Shan's arms. Lin Shan was shocked. Little Dark Shadow was traveling at full speed, and there was still someone who could keep up with him. The little girl was wearing a peach red dress. Her hair was tied up, and her body was petite. Her face was like a jade carving. She had white teeth and cherry lips. She was biting on the remaining half of a candy berry. Her mouth was full of sugar, and it stuck to Lin Shan's clothes. Her watery eyes flickered with ripples of autumn water as she stared at him with a naive and excited expression. 2 shallow dimples appeared on her cheeks, and her appearance was extremely lovable. The most important thing was that her body was emitting a dazzling light ball. Qi Shuang? Oh my God, why are you here? Lin Shan was stunned. Chapter 984. When he was traveling through the void, a little girl actually appeared out of nowhere. And she was his disciple? There was such a thing? The moment Shen Ling Shuang hugged Lin Shan, all the attribute lights in her body were absorbed into Lin Chen's body. Received 100 Advanced Cultivation Technique Soul Essences, 80 Advanced Cultivation Technique Soul Essences, 150 Advanced Cultivation Technique Soul Essences. The system screen kept popping up, and Lin Shan sucked in a breath of cold air. This little girl was even more terrifying than when he first met her. The attributes of the cultivation technique soul essences were simply heaven-defying. In an instant, Lin Shan received 988 Advanced Cultivation Technique Soul Essences from Shen Ling Shuang. How did you come here? How did you catch up with me? Lin Shan had just opened his mouth when he saw this little girl stepping on a red talisman that was burning at an extremely fast speed. Traveling through the void was a piece of cake for her. I ran out from the Divine Flame Palace to play with Master. I originally planned to take the space tunnel to the Mystic Realm. I didn't expect to meet Master here. After saying that, Shenling Shuang looked behind Lin Shan and clapped her hands excitedly. So powerful! As expected of Master, there are more than a dozen sages in one go. Lin Shan blushed with shame. Why did he feel that this little girl was being led astray by him? Wait a minute, you said you sneaked out? Lin Shan put on a serious expression. Shen Ling Shuang immediately shook her head. I didn't sneak out. I got permission. Sister said I can play for 3 months. Sister, Lin Shan was puzzled. Although he still had a lot of questions to ask this little girl, the sages behind him didn't give him the chance to. Little girl, hold on tight. We will rush to the Heaven List conference first. Let's talk when we get there. Just as Lin Shan was about to speed up, Shen Ling Shuang's delicate hand grabbed him instead. Master wants to go to the Heaven List conference? Okay, I will bring Master there. Boom. The red flame talisman under the little girl's feet ignited, and her speed increased sharply. The little girl pulled Lin Shan and sprinted. So fast. The monarch and poison sage Yu were both shocked. Who was that person? She actually chased after that Lin Shan? It looks like a little girl. The red talisman on her body has a familiar smell. It's full of holy power. Could it be? Poison Saint you seem to recall some extremely terrifying existence, and his expression changed slightly. The Sage Realm experts who were frantically chasing him were even more dumbfounded, just as they were about to catch Lin Shun. Where did this little girl come from? His speed of traveling through the void was actually 30% faster than Lin Shun. I won't let go even if I die. Lin Shun, you've destroyed the foundation of my hidden pavilion. There's no turning back for us. Ingmie's face was ferocious, and holy light burst out from his body. Even Wan Jin and the other saints were not willing to give up. They did not believe that Lin Shun could maintain this speed. They did not plan to give up until the last moment. Only the heretical saints began to hesitate. They were from evil sect, so the hidden pavilion and the others were still fine. But if they ran into the saints of the southern region on the island where the Heaven Ranking meeting would be held, things might not end so well. The Heaven Ranking meeting was held on Chilan Island. Today was the last day to register for the Heaven Ranking meeting. The 1-month registration period was about to end. 20,000 geniuses had gathered on Chilan Island. They were all from the 36 regions of the Sacred Boundary, and all the amazing geniuses from each region were present. Apart from the monstrous geniuses in the top 10,000 of the genius ranking, all the geniuses in the top 40,000 had arrived. There were more than 200 saints in the void, and the lineup was unprecedentedly grand. They were all here to witness the birth of the new leader of the era. There's so many 4th-rank sects, and quite a few 5th-rank sects as well. This year's Heaven Ranking meeting is stronger than the previous ones in the past 2 million years. The 2 white-browed old men stroked their beards and smiled. Some of the geniuses sat in the venue on Chilan Island, while others stood proudly in the sky, thinking that they were extraordinary. Other than that, the audience seats were filled with young men and women, as well as extraordinary people with extraordinary bearings. They were all geniuses on the genius ranking who had traveled hundreds of millions of miles to come here. They didn't have the qualifications to participate, but they had the qualifications to enter Chilan Island. There were more than 40,000 geniuses from the 36 regions who had come here to watch the competition. Some of the more distant regions had to be led by powerful saints, and they had to set off more than 10 years in advance to find multiple spatial passageways to cross multiple regions until they reached the southern region. In addition to the 20,000 participating geniuses, there were more than 60,000 people. 2/3 of the geniuses on the genius ranking were here. The Heaven Ranking meeting was the most comprehensive gathering of the geniuses on the genius ranking. The Heaven Ranking meeting was highly watched by the 36 regions of the Sacred Boundary. If it was a competition, there would be hundreds of millions of spectators. Even if the void was opened, it wouldn't be able to fit so many people. Therefore, there were only 2 possibilities for entering Chilan Island to watch the Heaven Ranking meeting. 1, they had the genius ranking. 2, they had the strength of a saint. Even if the geniuses on the genius ranking were at the bottom, they could still watch the Heaven Ranking meeting. This was the privilege of the genius ranking. This was because this was the moment to witness the birth of the leader of the genius ranking. Many geniuses wanted to enter the genius ranking because of this privilege. This was because every Heaven Ranking meeting was the moment of the birth of history. Those who couldn't resist the scene could also watch the battles between the geniuses through the spatial refraction of the gold ranking. In the front row of the venue, 2 young men in green robes raised their heads to look at the figures standing in the void and exclaimed in a trembling voice, "I'm so nervous." Those are the top 40,000 geniuses on the genius ranking. Every one of them is a 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor under the age of 1,000. They're too strong. Any one of them is several times stronger than our elders. In the back row, 10 young men with sabers at their waists couldn't help but sigh. When I was just 1,000 years old, I was only an initial 9th level combat emperor. However, they've already cultivated to the 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor. They're too strong. The top 40,000 geniuses on the genius ranking are said to be far stronger than ordinary 5th Tribulation Combat Emperors. They're the highest peak below the Saint Realm. The next generation of geniuses will be born here. A young man in linen clothes, sitting in the front row, raised his head to look at the sky with a complicated expression. He was ranked 40001 on the genius ranking, but he couldn't enter the top 40,000. The reason was very simple. He was still at the peak of the Fourth Tribulation Combat Emperor. The suppression of the genius rankings cultivation was extremely terrifying. Due to the strong foundation of the two geniuses, there was an absolute gap in their cultivation. It wasn't a big problem for the geniuses on the genius ranking to challenge ordinary combat emperors. However, it was rare for someone to challenge the top 40,000 geniuses on the genius ranking. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, heaven and earth trembled as a holy light illuminated the area. Ripples began to appear in the void within a radius of 10,000 miles. A ray of holy light that seemed to be able to suppress all eternity shone down from the heavens. The group of Saint Realm experts cast curious, complicated, or fearful gazes at a certain spot in the void. The geniuses were even more bewildered. At this final moment, who on earth had such a terrifying display of power? Chapter 985. Under the snow-white holy light, a group of 30 young men and women walked out. These 30 people's eyes were like the stars in the sky, vast and deep. Their spirits radiated an extraordinary brilliance, and their auras were like the sun and moon in the sky. They were all near invincible. The 30 people stood side by side and slowly stepped onto the island. Their every movement had the demeanor of a natural-born monarch, and there were many strange phenomena. They were like balls of blazing suns rising, suppressing the ancients. These 30 people's gazes were as if they didn't put any of the geniuses in their eyes at all. There was an innate, absolute nobility between their brows. It's those geniuses from Sun Moon Hall. What a domineering aura. It is said that Sun Moon Hall is already at the top of the ranking of 5th grade sects in the entire sacred boundary. Some saints frowned and had their own opinions about the appearance of this group of geniuses. Damn it, they're the same as those old guys back then. The young people they taught are all the same as back then. They are all so arrogant. Damn it, when I participated in the Heaven List Conference back then, I killed many of those pretentious fellows from Sun Moon Hall. They put on airs just because they have a little bloodline advantage. It would be best if they were besieged to death by all the geniuses from Xuanyu this time. The eyes of the two gray-robed saints in the void flashed with monstrous hostility, and their killing intent was violent and restrained. I didn't expect Sun Moon Hall to come this time. Didn't they lose interest in the Heaven List Conference in recent years? Maybe there's something else. I don't like these fellows either. The two white-browed elders looked at each other. The 30 geniuses from Sun Moon Hall were all born to be noble, and they seemed to be supercilious and arrogant to the extreme. It seems that there are many people who are jealous of our Sun Moon Hall. The demonic youth who led all the geniuses to appear grinned coldly. There seemed to be a crescent moon rotating between his eyebrows. It was demonic and mysterious. The demonic youth smiled evilly at the geniuses and said, "Junior brothers and sisters, do you have the confidence to suppress the geniuses of this Heaven List Conference?" The handsome young man in white who led the group smiled faintly and said, "Senior brother, you must be joking. Are these people worthy of being called geniuses?" Boom! A hostile atmosphere instantly filled the entire Kirin Cloud Island. The geniuses of Sun Moon Hall had angered all the geniuses with just one sentence. Whether it was the spectators or the participating geniuses, none of them had a good impression of the Sun Moon Hall. The white-robed man showed no sign of fear. He flicked his sleeves and stepped forward, facing all the geniuses with a cold smile on his face. "I'm not targeting any one of you. I'm saying that all of you bang." Bang! Boom! The white-robed young man's aura had reached its peak. Before he could even finish his declaration, a sudden clap of thunder exploded, causing the wind and clouds to change. 12 murderous auras soared into the sky, and the holy lights came crashing down like an avalanche, catching everyone's attention. The youth's hearty laughter reverberated throughout Chelan Island. Ha ha! As long as we are fast enough, death won't be able to catch up to us. When that peerless beauty that was pure and untainted, elegant like a lotus heard this voice, her delicate body suddenly trembled. Bang! Two beams of light, one red and one white, fell from the sky onto Chelan Island. A silver-robed youth and a pink-clothed girl with her hands on her hips appeared out of thin air and suddenly descended in front of the geniuses of Sun Moon Hall. All the geniuses were stunned. More than 200 Sage Realm cultivators were also stunned. The white-robed young man of Sun Moon Hall, whose domineering speech was interrupted, looked as if he had eaten sh tea, and the corners of his mouth twitched wildly. These two people actually arrived at Chelan Island while being chased by 12 Sage Realm cultivators. This appearance made all the geniuses look surprised and bewildered. There was a combat emperor being chased by 12 Sage Realm cultivators in this world. It's him, the Black Horse Club's Lin Chun. F***CK. He actually escaped from the quadrant tournament? He's too strong. Oh my god, how many Sage Realm cultivators did he offend? Some of the geniuses from the Mystic Realm were shocked. Death is really like the wind. I just finished using my killing move and rushed here. Lin Chun breathed a sigh of relief and chuckled. Lin Chun, Ing Mia, Ing Tianma, and the others rushed into the void, their eyes wide open. They were just about to take down this kid, but he actually rushed to Chelan Island at the last moment. Boom! Two powerful auras filled the sky, and in an instant, they attacked, bursting out 3 rays of holy light like blades that grabbed at Lin Chun. They were the 2 ancestors of the Chun family. The 2 white-browed elders frowned and gently flicked their sleeves. There was no strong power, only a few rays of light flashed, and the attacks of the 2 were shattered. 2 of you, no matter where you came from, could it be that you want to fight at the Heavenless Tournament on Chelan Island? The 2 elders looked indifferent as they warned the ancestors of the Chun family. The 2 of them were trembling with anger and scolded angrily. Lin Chun, ask your Black Horse Club's Shintoku show to hand over the sacred burning flame pearl, and you will still have a chance to live. Otherwise, my Chun family will not rest until you are dead. You dare to take away my Chun family's million-year heritage? Do you really think that we, a 4th-rank family, are made of mud? The 2 ancestors' murderous auras filled the sky, and they said coldly, "You don't think that you can challenge my Chun family with just a few war emperors, do you?" The geniuses from all the forces present couldn't help but show surprise and astonishment. The saints in the void looked at each other curiously, and they were all puzzled. Who is this kid? He actually made a 4th-rank family fight with him until he is dead? Look, there is only a little girl beside him, and there is no saint. Could it be that he robbed the million-year heritage of a 4th-rank family with just the cultivation of a war emperor? Fight until you are dead? What does it have to do with me? Look at the guys behind you. Which 4th-rank sect or 3rd-rank force do they lack your Qin family? Lin Chun smiled mockingly, and Shun Baishuang made a face, making the saints so angry that their veins were bulging. Speaking of which, your Qin clan has sent out all of its saints. Don't you need to guard your treasures? Lin Chun raised his eyebrows and smirked. When a dark horse appears, we'll take care of the ones behind. The 2 saints' faces suddenly changed, and their eyes widened in anger. Do you mean you? Go home often. Go home often. Lin Chun blinked. You too. Don't fall for his provocation. Once the Heavenless Conference is over, no one can protect this group of bastards. Lian Wanjin stood in front of the 2 ancestors and said in a deep voice, "The secret pavilion has already fought with this kid until he is dead. Saints of the Qin family, let's work together and do our best to encircle him after the conference. In addition, I have already asked the 2 elders of the Chamber of Commerce to find the Saint Binding Rope. When the time comes, he will not be able to escape." The Saint Binding Rope was a consumable 1st-rank sacred artifact, and a 1,000-mile shadow lock could even track a saint for thousands of miles, let alone a war emperor. At this point, Lian Wanjin didn't just want to avenge his son with Jundok Shuai's life, but more importantly, He wanted to find out the secrets on him. This kid had too many secrets. As the leader of the fourth-ranked Chamber of Commerce, he knew very well that even a little bit of secret would be worth a lot. The two ancestors of the Chun family were temporarily persuaded to stay. One stayed to guard the venue, and the other left. At this time, the monarch and the others also arrived, and the situation became more and more complicated. The saints of the secret pavilion floated in the air and stood in a circle, as if a layer of a big net was being unfolded. The secret pavilion used to be afraid of the hidden forces behind the Black Horse Club. But these fellows actually provoked the Chun clan, and the forces that encircled and annihilated him grew bigger and bigger like a rolling snowball. This made the secret pavilion even more fearless against Lin Chun. Chapter 986. Now that he's here, he should be safe for the time being. Just as the king let out a sigh of relief, the 7th and 6th princesses hurriedly flew down from the sky and rushed in front of Lin Chun. Hello, Prince Lin Chun. We are from Fusang country. Is young master Jundak Shui all right? I heard that he was seriously injured. How is his body? Is his life in danger? Yu Qingli and Yu Yolan's faces were filled with anxiety. The two did not recognize Lin Chun. Even the king could not see through his appearance when he transformed into Jundak Shui. Shunling Shuang turned her eyes and stared at her master. Is this the future master's wife? Sister by Ruoyan, is still better looking. The little girl muttered in her heart. Lin Chun said seriously, the two of you, Jundak Shui is currently recuperating in my fate plant pouch and is not in danger for the time being. However, he asked me to tell you that he never wanted to be the son-in-law of Fu Saint Country and did not want to drag you into this. Therefore, he hopes that you will not interfere in this matter. How can this be? Can you let me and my sister meet him? Yu Yolan's face turned pale as she grabbed Lin Chen's sleeve. Lin Chen shook his head. Yu Yolan's body trembled. Yu Qingli held onto her sister with tears in her eyes and stubbornly said, since he doesn't want to come out and meet us, then we will wait until he comes out. As if his heart was touched, Lin Chun said indifferently without a change in expression, I have said what I should say. I hope you will not be stubborn. Lin Chun ignored the two girls and held Shunling Shuang's hand as he turned and walked towards the white-browed elder. Seeing them again would only add to their sorrow. He never wanted to be the son-in-law of Fu Saint Country. If his attitude was firm, perhaps they would back off. Suddenly, a handsome young man dressed in white stood in front of Lin Chun, sizing him up with disdain. A trash with a cultivation base of 3 tribulations. Huh? This kind of person again? Lin Chun flicked his fingernails and said with a faint smile, people like you who deny that others are trash the moment they open their mouths can only be described with one word in my hometown, and that is flop. After saying that, the master and disciple smiled and gave them the middle finger in a friendly manner. Good, very good. I hope you can last a few more rounds in the Heavenly List tournament. The white-clothed man's facial muscles twitched, and he lost all of his poise. Clang! Boom! The air was torn apart, and the sword momentum was like a dragon. Streaks of battle chi condensed into killing intent that was aimed at Lin Chun. Aunt, show some respect to our senior brothers. Bah! Lin Chun curled his lips. Shunling Shuang imitated him and spat. F***CK you shameless bastard. You call me trash the moment you meet me, and you want to talk about respect with me? Is there shit in your brains, or have I lost my mind? Lin Chun choked the geniuses of the Sun Moon Hall into silence. All 30 geniuses of the Sun Moon Hall, sign up. The demonic young man of the Sun Moon Hall signed up for everyone. He patted the white-clothed man's shoulder and smiled sternly. There's no need to argue with this kind of person. Just beat him to death when you meet him in the tournament. Yes, I will follow your instructions, senior brother. The young man cupped his fists and left. The two white-browed elders stroked their beards and smiled. Young people should always be a little hot-tempered to be called young. Senior, I'll sign up too. Black Horse Club, Lin Chun. Lin Chun took out a scroll of the golden roll, which recorded his ranking on the genius roll. The two elders took it and were about to register when they suddenly paused. The next moment, Lin Chun, right? Your genius ranking doesn't qualify you to participate in the Heavenly List tournament. When the two elders announced, Lin Chen's mouth opened slightly. What the F asterisk CK? He didn't even look cool for 3 seconds. Due to the many plans, battles, and escapes, Lin Chun had forgotten the simplest and most basic thing in the process of coming to the Heavenly List tournament. He didn't have a ranking in the top 40,000 of the genius ranking. The clone of the Jundak Shui had the highest ranking, Chun Wuming, which was 64450. The sixth princess, Yu Qingli, had the strength to rank 50,000th on the genius ranking, but her actual ranking was still below 60,000th. In terms of strength, Ru Jin had already broken through to the third Tribulation Combat Emperor realm, and his elemental attributes had skyrocketed. Therefore, Lin Chun was confident enough to fight against the geniuses ranked in the top 40,000. At the very least, he could use the delaying rune to win. This brat has been showing off for a long time, but it turns out that he hasn't reached the ranking yet. There are all kinds of people mixed in with the honest ones. There's no lack of people who play to the gallery. What a joke. Damn, I thought he was some kind of expert, but it turns out he's just here to make fun of himself. Ha ha ha. Hey, handsome guy over there, you want to come to my auditorium, right? I'm a good lighting thief, and I have a good view of the battle. Ha ha ha. The geniuses on both sides of the auditorium burst into ridicule. Among the more than 20,000 geniuses floating in the air, most of them cast cold disdain and sarcasm. Lin Chun rubbed his chin. If my ranking isn't high enough, then I won't be able to enter the Rainbow Island, the old man with white eyebrows said with a smile. Young man, according to the rules of the competition, those who rank in the top 10 can get an extra quota to bring another person to the Rainbow Island. Of course, the prerequisite is that the other party is willing to use the quota on you. At this time, Shunling Shuang stepped forward and pulled Lin Chen's clothes. Master, are you going to enter the Rainbow Island? Yes, but your master isn't ranked in the top 40,000 of the genius ranking. If there's a ranking for handsomeness, your master should be ranked first. But I am. It's useless for you to say that. You said you're ranked in the top 40,000 after the first round? Lin Chun was stunned. Shunling Shuang smiled like a little fox. Her beautiful eyes narrowed into crescent moons as she giggled. Yes, I had a senior brother who wanted to find trouble with me some time ago, but I beat him up, so he gave me his ranking. Many geniuses heard this sentence, and their hearts were filled with disbelief. This little girl was at most 16 years old. Her cultivation level and foundation were something that the geniuses present couldn't see through. She could enter the top 40,000 of the genius ranking at this age. If it was true, then she must be a peerless genius who could shake the world. Lin Chen looked deeply at Shunling Shuang. He couldn't see through this girl's cultivation level either. It was like some magical existence that covered her real aura. Oh, little girl, let this old man take a look. The old man with white eyebrows was curious. Shunling Shuang took out her gold ranking. The two old men opened the gold ranking, and a golden light rushed out. Genius ranking 39411, Shunling Shuang. Title none. Sect, unable to record. At this moment, the whole place was silent, including all the saints. Their pupils trembled as they witnessed the words unable to record. Lin Chen was curious. What was unable to record? I see. An old man with white eyebrows swallowed his saliva with difficulty. These two mysterious saints, who had been calm in the face of more than a dozen saints, actually showed some reverence. Chapter 987. There were some extremely powerful sects in the sacred boundary. When the geniuses of these sects entered the genius ranking didn't have the qualifications to show or record the sect that these geniuses belonged to. Only those who were listed on the monstrous genius ranking would be shown. In the sacred boundary, ordinary experts and even saints mostly came into contact with 5th grade sects and below. 5th grade sects were already the peak of what many mortals knew. And most of the geniuses on the genius ranking were from 5th grade or 2nd grade sections. The geniuses of the Sky Ranking Conference were all from 4th grade or 5th grade sects. But 6th grade sects were fundamentally different. The genius ranking didn't have the qualifications to record 6th grade sects. In other words, this little girl might have come from a 6th grade sect. No wonder, no wonder. The corners of Poison St. Yu's mouth twitched. She might not have guessed wrong. This girl's origin was terrifying to the extreme. Ling Shuang and Sister Oyan were both brought into the Divine Flame Palace. It's very likely that they have also joined the Divine Flame Palace. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes. As expected, the Divine Flame Palace's origin was terrifying. Without the strength of the monstrous genius ranking, he definitely wouldn't have the qualifications to bring Sister Oyan back. It would be extremely difficult to even catch a glimpse of her. After coming to the sacred boundary, Lin Shun had seen more saints, but none of them could be compared to the peerless beauty from the Divine Flame Palace. She had suppressed and sealed the 9 demon eyes of the 9 prefectures by herself. Even now, she was still the strongest person Lin Shun had seen. Perhaps the only person who could be compared to her was the female demon who had her eyes on him. Good. Shunling Shuang, your registration is complete. Little girl, we look forward to your performance. The 2 elders' tone was somewhat polite as they returned the gold ranking to Shunling Shuang. Ha! It seems that Master doesn't need to show up this time. Let's see your performance. Beat them up. Lin Shun pointed at the geniuses in the Sun Moon Hall. Shunling Shuang licked her lips and said, F***CK them. The 2 elders were speechless. How could such a good little girl follow such a master? The geniuses of the Sun Moon Hall had disdainful looks on their faces. The Saint Realm experts who were chasing Lin Shin earlier had ugly expressions on their faces. If what Lin Shin said was true and this girl was his disciple, then the origin of the Black Horse Club, wasn't it related to a rank 6 sect? As Saint Realm experts, they knew very well that a rank 4 sect was nothing in front of a rank 6 sect. After Shun Lingshuang signed up, no other geniuses signed up. There were only streaks of holy light that swept across the void. Lin Shun and Shun Lingshuang found their seats in the auditorium. They were too lazy to pay attention to those mocking gazes. After sitting down, Lin Shun looked around at the void, his eyes burning with passion. More than 265 Sage Realm experts have come this time. I can use my stealing omen to steal as much as I want. Now, I have to worry about whether I have enough talent points. Finally, an elder with white eyebrows floated in the air. Registration time is up. There are a total of 21,491 geniuses participating in the Heavenly List Conference. The geniuses on the Genius ranking were in awe. The Heavenly List Conference, which is held once in 1,000 years, has officially begun. The participation mechanism of the conference is the same as before. There will be 4 rounds of drawing lots. If there are more than 3 victories in the 4 rounds, you will enter the reserve list. Depending on the situation, there will be a knockout round. The winner of 4 consecutive victories will directly obtain a place. The rules of the battle. Both parties will bet on their rankings. The loser will drop in ranking until one party surrenders or can no longer fight. Old Man Ime and this Seiji Fuzumi will be responsible for healing your injuries. If your spirit is damaged, your body is damaged, or your battle chi cultivation is damaged, we will immediately heal both parties. This will ensure that you can exert 100% of your battle strength. You can use all means in the battle, including pills and secret methods. As long as you don't borrow the strength of others, it is not against the rules. The winner of 4 consecutive victories will obtain a chance to enter the top 10. The top 10 geniuses will obtain an extra place to enter the Rainbow Island. Saint Ime announced loudly. The geniuses present couldn't help but feel a little excited. An extra place. This was a very tempting reward. The Rainbow Island had endless opportunities. If there was one more person going, there would be more hope. Little girl, how is Sister Oyan now? Lin Shin asked Shunling Shuang in a low voice. She pouted her little mouth. I don't know. When Sister Bai and I first arrived at the sacred boundary for a year, we could still see each other often. However, the elders in the palace said that the power of the sacred flame had begun to grow, so Sister Bai went into seclusion and didn't come out until I came out. Lin Chen frowned. It seemed that the power of the eternal sacred flame had begun to seep into her body due to the mental cultivation method. Perhaps only the God Flame Palace could help her control this power. Lin Chen had many things to consider, such as whether the God Flame Palace would use Bai Ruoyan or covet her sacred flame. However, these were things that this little girl couldn't detect. Lin Chen coughed lightly. Cough, cough, cough. Well, did anyone from the God Flame Palace have any ideas about you and Sister Bai? Especially the men. Shun Ling Shuang smiled innocently and said, Yes, yes. Lin Shan was about to raise his saber when Shun Ling Shuang said with a smile, However, the men have never approached Sister Bai. Instead, it was second senior sister who especially liked to find Sister Bai. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. Damn. No. Lin Shun, you have to be confident. You're the top girl of the club. You have to believe in your own charm and believe in Sister Ruoyan. Right? Shun Ling Shuang shook her little head and muttered, There seems to be a man who often comes to find Sister Bai. Sister is very tired of him. I think he is from some Jew god sect. I don't remember his name. Lin Chen frowned. It seemed like the trip to the God Flame Palace would have to be put on the agenda. Also, he had to find a way to enter the holy jail. Manqing's whereabouts are still unknown, and Sister Ruoyan's situation isn't optimistic either. After her seclusion, she will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. I am now at the third tribulation level. After 2 more tribulations, I can try to use the pill nurturing technique that Senior Alchemy Saint left behind. Lin Chen made up his mind. He was no longer as far away from the Saint realm as before. At this moment, Seiji Fuzumi gathered sacred power in her hands and pulled. Whoosh! A golden list that was 1,000 feet long and 1,000 feet wide appeared out of nowhere. All the names of the geniuses were engraved on it. It was the genius ranking. Buzz! A golden sea of light flowed on the golden list, and a series of battle names began to roll and appear one by one. Genius Leaderboard 37150, Ling Xiao. Genius Leaderboard 39744, Cui Xian, number 112. Genius Leaderboard 39592, Li Jintian. Genius Leaderboard 38999, Qin Feijue, number 388. Boom! A mysterious spatial ripple spread along the golden list. At this moment, most of the people who were paying attention to the Genius Leaderboard in the 36 regions of the Sacred Boundary saw this series of battle names. Lin Shan raised his head playfully and looked at the series of rankings. He noticed that Shun Ling Shuang had drawn lots for her battle. Genius Leaderboard 39411, Shun Ling Shuang. Genius Leaderboard 34888, Li Sanhai, number 427. Chapter 988. She actually drew an opponent that was 5,000 ranks higher than her. Her luck could be said to be extremely bad. There were also a few extremely lucky geniuses who got a bye in the first round. There were also geniuses who were even more unlucky than Shun Ling Shuang and drew opponents with a huge difference in ranking. But the geniuses who came here weren't mediocre people. They were already mentally prepared, and none of them backed down. The geniuses of the first round ascend the Qilin stage. Seiji Fuzumi ordered. The 600 geniuses who participated in the first round all entered the Qilin stage, and the space boundary solidified. Some geniuses were covered in 5-colored brilliance and stood proudly with their heads held high like thousands of mountains. They were as immovable as mountains and suppressed eternity. Some were stocky and burly with a bloodthirsty face. They stepped on black whirlwinds and carried black giant hammers on their backs. Their blood and chi were strong and burning like bloody flames. Some were agile and graceful with dazzling lights. Their beautiful eyes contained a spiritual storm and their slender waists were leaning on the crescent-shaped ancient zither. There were even some who held a halberd and wore red battle armor. Although they stood on the stage alone, they were like thousands of soldiers and horses galloping forward. Hundreds and thousands of odd crystal fragments flickered and dotted every Chelan stage. There were too many and too majestic. None of these geniuses were weak. Every one of them was at the top of the 5th Tribulation Combat Emperors in the 36 regions. Damn it, it's about to start. I'm so nervous. 300 battles. We can't miss any of them. Damn, I didn't come here in vain. The geniuses outside the 40,000 ranks were looking forward to the battle. Even Lin Chen couldn't help but hold his breath. He was excited and looking forward to it. Each of the geniuses present was a few levels stronger than Chun Wuming. Damn it, with so many geniuses fighting, there should be some high-grade attribute light balls, right? It's a pity that I can't personally take care of them. Lin Chun licked his lips excitedly. Lin Chun had stepped into the 3rd Tribulation Combat Emperor and was confident that he could challenge any 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor who was 2 ranks higher than him. But he didn't dare to say that he could win against any of the geniuses present, unless he unleashed all of his phantom doppelgangers or used the rune of slowing at the bottom of his chest. Shunling Shuang, on the other hand, was not very interested. Her little head was still thinking about the ice candy berry from before. Now, the conference officially begins. Boom! Just as he finished speaking, the aura of the 600 peak experts erupted and shook the entire Chelan Island. The Heaven List assembly had officially begun. The mystic realm, the vast and boundless territory, was full of discussions and discussions. It's finally starting, the Heavenly List assembly. I wonder which sex genius will take the lead in this year's Heaven Roll? Haha, this old man is looking forward to our Star Extinction sword sex performance. Those little fellows are all top geniuses in the mysterious realm. In Xuanyu, there are thousands of mountain peaks and towering rocks. I wonder what's going on with Senior Brother. He drew a genius ranked 31992. I hope we'll be able to get through this. The only regret of such a grand banquet is that I can't personally witness it. Southern region, a certain spatial plane. Bang! A demonic energy wave crushed the space. Demonic energy overflowed into the sky, and bloody light flashed chaotically. Demonic humans actually dare to enter the territory of our human race? Kill. None of these demonic humans are good. Exterminate them all. Thousands of auspicious holy light streaked across the sky and shot toward a slender figure in a black robe. Have I been discovered? Could it be that my clone is going to fall here? The slender figure in a black robe disregarded everything and rushed out of the encirclement of the holy light. Chelan Island. The sound of battle was endless and dazzling. Thousands of battle techniques, thousands of cultivation techniques, and endless foundations were revealed one after another. Lin Chen activated his purple gold eyes and saw attribute light balls drop in every battle. Many geniuses even raised refraction crystals with both hands. This was a special kind of crystal that could store a scene in the crystal and store it. This was the crystal that everyone used to store the scene of the battle. Because in the 300 battles, without the strength of the Saint Realm, it was impossible to watch all of them at the same time. On number 32 Chelan Island, the snow-robed swordsman illuminated the 9 provinces with his sword and divided it into 10 disc-like bright sword lights. His opponent was the green-robed young master who was 2,000 ranks higher than him. Lin Chen was paying attention to this battle. This was a battle between 35,000 and 37,000 people on the genius ranking. These two people both had third-grade holy bloodlines and were descendants of saints. The Saint Realm had already reversed their bloodline and transformed their level of life. The first generation of direct descendants would all have extremely high talent. Of the 100,000 geniuses on the genius ranking, more than 50% were descendants of saints. Ji Qingming, who Lin Chun had encountered earlier, was also a descendant of a saint. However, his bloodline was only a first-grade holy bloodline, which was far inferior to the two of them. The two of them fought in a ball, and after-images flashed continuously. The green-robed young master quickly threw out dozens of dark green battle chi hurricanes that were dozens of feet long. The snow-robed swordsman's arm moved quickly, and one sword tore through the hurricanes, and the other sword went straight for the enemy. Tens of thousands of sword lights shot out like a peacock spreading its tail, crushing layer by layer. It was a half-orange grade sword technique. This sword cut off the opponent's retreat, and he wanted to suppress the green-robed young master with his momentum. The outcome was almost decided. The green-robed young master's movements were dodged, and his wind elemental battle chi greatly enhanced his movements. The wind blade-like flowing light condensed into a beam of light, a half-orange grade finger technique. Bang! The beam of light was launched later, but it did not have enough momentum and was defeated by the sword attack, retreating step by step. The sword light twisted, and the green-robed young master was shredded into pieces. However, it was actually a clone. The real body had already flashed over the snow-robed swordsman's head like a ghost. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. Rumble. The green-robed young master released a huge wind dragon battle chi hand that was 10 acres wide and brazenly grabbed down. The snow-robed swordsman was caught off guard and raised his sword to block. With a bang, he was hit by the wind dragon battle chi hand and spat out blood. When the green-robed young master followed up with another attack, the snow-robed swordsman's sword reflected a strange snow-white sword light that streaked across the void. The sword light strangely rebounded and pierced through the green-robed young master's defense, causing him to spit out blood and retreat. The snow-robed swordsman forcefully circulated his chi and raised his sword in a furious slash. A 1,000-foot sword light that could cut through everything in its path came down vertically. The green-robed young master clenched his teeth and activated his battle chi phantom body to block this shocking sword. Bang! The sword light smashed down, and the green-robed young master fell to the ground. His entire body was covered in blood, and he was almost unable to move. The snow-robed swordsman spat out blood, but his eyes shone with a tragic and excited light. Victory was close at hand. The snow-robed swordsman was just about to activate his movement technique when suddenly a green light flashed past. With a whoosh, it strangely pierced through the left side of his body, causing blood to splatter everywhere. Lin Chun was dumbfounded. The green-robed young master had actually held back a few moves, and so did the snow-robed swordsman. Victory and defeat were only a hair's breadth away. Both were struggling on the line between life and death. Damn, this is 2F** king exciting. Lin Chun was so excited that he cursed. This is a top-notch banquet, a battle between the top 40,000 geniuses. Mystery, suspense, and murderous intent. Who knows how many moves they have up their sleeves? Although there is a difference of 2,000 ranks, it is impossible to know who will win until the end. Lin Chen finally understood why those geniuses who could not participate in the battle had used the refraction crystal to record every battle. This kind of battle was never tiresome. Experience, combat techniques, psychological games, and so on. These geniuses were all ruthless characters among the strong. In the past, Lin Chun had encountered geniuses who were ranked after 40,000. Every 3,000 geniuses had a clear difference. Even if the difference was not large, he could still tell who was stronger and who was weaker. But it was not the case for the top 40,000 geniuses. The difference between 30,001 and 40,000 geniuses was not that strong. Apart from mental cultivation techniques or combat domains, the outcome would only be known after the battle. Lin Chen admitted that if he did not use his clones to attack and slow down the opponent, it was unknown who would win if he fought the snow-robed swordsman or the green-robed young master alone. And this was only a battle between geniuses who were ranked in the 35,000th ranks. How terrifying would those geniuses who were ranked in the 20,000th and 10,000th ranks be? Lin Chen was looking forward to it. Chapter 989. He is indeed very strong. Even if it is Lu she would have to go through another 100 years of consolidation before she is qualified to break through to this level. King Fu Shang shook his head and exclaimed, but his gaze fell on Lin Shun for some reason. As the leader of the Black Horse Club that my Jundok Shuai's son-in-law joined, I wonder how strong this young man is. Lin Shun reluctantly looked away after watching over a dozen battles. His main goal now was to cultivate odd crystals. This time I robbed the Chun family's purgatory volcano and obtained 104 sacred burning flame pearls. The pure gold tree is just a step away from entering its peak. I can use the burning flame pearls to practice. Lin Shun planted the burning flame pearls at the bottom of the clear jade tree. Little Shadow, who was resting in the peach blossom pouch, stared at him curiously. According to the method of the odd crystal cultivation secret technique, Lin Shin's battle chi was divided into hundreds of thousands, as light as a strand of hair, and penetrated the ground of the peach blossom pouch. The clone used battle chi to connect the burning flame pearls, the roots of the clear jade tree, and the long Qing Shu. The roots of the spirit plant of luck that absorbed the luck began to absorb the energy of the burning flame pearls. Lin Shin squinted his eyes. The consumption of battle chi in this process was quite terrifying. 8 hours later, all the burning flame pearls were successfully connected to the roots of the spirit plant of luck. Rumble. A magical scene appeared. The long Qing Shu and the clear jade tree seemed to be full of light bulbs and suddenly lit up. Faint red veins began to flow in the branches of the spirit plant of luck that were thousands of meters tall. In addition to producing specialties, silver St. Yuan coins and treasures, the branches and leaves also began to condense odd crystals the size of gravel. Success! Sure enough, the ancient god secret technique was right. Odd crystals of mid-grade and below have a 100% success rate. Lin Shun was excited. Next, he just had to wait for the pure gold tree to grow to its peak, and then he could try cultivating a complete odd crystal. It's absolutely impossible for ordinary geniuses to control a complete odd crystal before the Sage Realm. But my 9 calamities of creation has opened up 9 types of calamity battle bodies, and the elemental attribute values are constantly increasing. Lin Shun fell into deep thought. Maybe I can try to refine a complete odd crystal when my body refinement and battle chi cultivation both reach the peak of the War Emperor realm. Strong winds blew in all directions on Qilin Island. Lin Shun withdrew his mind. At this point, all the battles had come to an end. Of the 300 battles, 200 were long battles that lasted for a day and a night before the outcome was decided. Every time a victor was decided, a beam of holy light would descend from the sky and heal the participating prodigy. In the arena, after the fierce battle, there were dozens of attribute light balls scattered around. Most of them were strengthening points, and a few were growth attribute points. This made Lin Shin's heart itch, but he wasn't one of the participating geniuses, so he couldn't step down to collect the attribute light balls. Boom! The first wave of changes in the rankings began to change from the gold roll, causing a new wave of shock. The 2 sages had already made their move and sprinkled down the holy brilliance, and the prodigies bathed in the holy light were all healed. The outcome of the 600 prodigies has been decided. Regardless of the winner or the loser, they still have a chance. If they lose more than 4 times, they will be completely eliminated. The second batch began. Before everyone could return to their senses, the gold roll in the void was arranged again, and another 600 prodigies began to enter the arena. Shenling Shuang was number 427 and belonged to the second batch of the first round. Little girl, do you have the confidence? Lin Shin ruffled her hair. She placed her hands on her hips and said in an old-fashioned manner, Master, don't worry. I'm very good at fighting. Lin Shin smiled, but he didn't underestimate Shenling Shuang. He couldn't see through Shenling Shuang's current strength, but it gave him a dangerous sense of oppression. This girl's current strength might be very terrifying. The prodigies of the Sun Moon Hall smiled playfully. It's that little girl's turn. Haha, this kid is really a piece of trash. He's actually reduced to relying on a little girl. How embarrassing. I'm afraid that little girl may not be Li Songhai's match, even if she has some tricks up her sleeve. A proud daughter of heaven swept a disdainful glance at Lin Shun and curled her lips. Spineless, still relying on a woman. On the Qilin platform, two people faced each other. Shen Lingshuang versus Li Songhai. Li Songhai, dressed in white, had a serious expression. Little girl, I won't underestimate you, and I won't be gentle with you. Shen Lingshuang made a face. Bring it on. Heya. Seiji Fuzumi waved his hand. Begin. Rumble. Inside the spatial barrier, the Qilin platform once again erupted with boundless momentum. Li Songhai's hands shook, and tens of thousands of waves rolled up. His battle aura turned into a raging wave that swept through the entire Qilin platform in the blink of an eye. Li Songhai's battle aura is so terrifying. This mental cultivation method is at the top of the half-orange grade. No, it's more than that. The geniuses who were paying attention to Shen Lingshuang and Li Songhai suddenly exclaimed, "Roar!" When a huge waves of battle chi rolled over, 10 terrifying battle chi sea beasts abruptly jumped out from the thousands of feet high battle chi waves and charged towards Shen Lingshuang in a menacing manner. There was an ancient killer whale, an ancient green dragon, an ancient white whale, an ancient dragon shark, and so on. They were extremely ferocious and had the power to push mountains. It was actually a half-orange grade technique. This Li Songhai is using his full strength right from the start. Is this little girl that strong? Impossible. That Lin Shin said he was her master. I don't believe that she's that strong. The geniuses were bewildered. Li Songhai didn't care about what others thought. He could vaguely feel that this little girl was hiding an aura that made him feel danger. Li Songhai's body flashed with 5 water-type odd crystal fragments, and his power soared to the peak as he attacked. Lifting her exquisite legs, the girl took a step forward and clenched her fists. She was like a small boat with a lone sail in the middle of the ocean. Her slender figure seemed extremely tiny in the face of the raging sea beast that was charging towards her. The innocence between Shen Lingshuang's brows was gradually replaced by an otherworldly charm. She raised her fists and pulled in her stomach, and her gem-like eyes emitted a terrifying divine light. Over there! Bang! Shen Lingshuang rushed out and relied purely on her explosive speed. Like an arrow leaving the bow, she charged straight towards the raging sea. She's actually using battle aura? Is she a body refinement martial artist? What's she trying to do? She'll be torn apart. Shen Lingshuang's recklessness shocked countless geniuses, but Seiji Fuzumi's eyes suddenly focused. Most of the saints in the void noticed the abnormality, and their hearts skipped a beat. Could it be? Shen Lingshuang's body flowed with ninth calamity battle aura. Without using any combat skills, she punched forward and hit the dragon horn of the immemorial green flood dragon. Chi! Bang! The weak and powerless fist shattered the sky and burst out with a monstrous fist wind. Boom! All the battle aura waves were completely destroyed, and Li Songhai spat out blood and retreated. Before Li Songhai could react, the fist wind swept through everything. The moment it shattered the giant wave, it became even more violent. All of the offensive power was converted into a fist that violently punched through Li Songhai's inner armor and defensive battle skill. Li Songhai was sent flying by the punch like a kite with a broken string. He landed heavily on the ground and lost consciousness. Silence, an extremely strange silence, descended upon the audience. This was the fastest duel since the start of the second batch of duels. Tens of thousands of geniuses' mouths twitched as if they had seen a ghost. One punch. Without using any combat skills, just a simple punch defeated Li Songhai, who was ranked 34888 on the genius ranking list. The geniuses of Sun Moon Hall were dumbfounded, as if their throats were being squeezed by an invisible hand. Lin Xuan's mouth opened slightly as he rubbed his eyes. Her pink dress fluttered in the wind. The little girl imitated Lin Shun and calmly raised her hand. Carry him away. Next. Chapter 990. What? What kind of fist art is that? Am I blind? That's Li Songhai. Even a genius ranked over 20,000 can't be killed instantly. The geniuses came back to their senses and started a heated discussion. Everyone looked at Lin Fan, who nodded slightly and said mysteriously, not bad. It's not too bad. Not too bad? In fact, Lin Fan was so excited that he almost did a backflip when he observed the battle between the snow-robed swordsman and the green-robed prince. He had seen that the gap between the top 40,000 geniuses was very small. All of them were top 5th Tribulation Battle Emperors below the Saint Realm. Li Sanhai's strength was almost on par with the two geniuses. To be able to kill such a genius in an instant, it could only be described as outrageous. Even the current Lin Shun would find it hard to do better than this lass. Above the clouds, the saints were discussing. It can't be wrong. That punch was aimed at the weakest point of the opponent. It disintegrated all the attacks into one point. Moreover, after this girl attacked the weakest point, her earth elemental battle chi restrained Li Songhai's water elemental battle chi. Instead, she used her wind elemental battle chi to counterattack. She turned the enemy's spear into her own sword. That's amazing. To be able to do that, it's not just talent. This guy probably has the legendary bloodline of a martial saint. He has the ultimate talent to see through combat skills and martial arts. Many of the saints from the 36 domains had lived for tens of thousands of years. They were knowledgeable and had sharp eyes. They immediately saw through the clues. Ing Tianmao, Ing Mia, and the other saints of the Dark Pavilion looked pale. The more terrifying the background of the people around Lin Shan was, the more they were afraid. Shenling Shuang hopped back to her seat like a white rabbit. She raised her nose at Lin Fan and snorted. How was it, master? How many points did you give me for this battle? Lin Shun pretended to be calm. 82 points. Your posture isn't handsome enough. To prevent you from getting too proud, I'll give you the next 18 points in the form of 666. Lin Shun flicked his finger and threw 5 long Qingguo to the girl. Here, master gave them to you. Save them. This is long Qingguo. Shunling Shuang held the brilliant and colorful long Qingguo in her hand. She swallowed and chewed on a piece. The sweet and sour aftertaste filled her mouth and teeth. Her strength continued to surge. Lin Shen's purple gold eyes had already detected that this girl was a 4th Tribulation Combat Emperor. Her pure physical strength was even stronger than his. She had 64 million dragon power points. As a body-refining battle emperor, Long Qinghua was of great benefit to her. The geniuses of the Sun Moon Hall finally put away their arrogance and looked at Shun Lingshuang seriously. Of course, Lin Shun and the others still didn't put them in their eyes. Who would have thought that this little girl actually has the bloodline of a martial saint? The two venerable realm ancestors of Fu Saint Country were speechless. Sun Yuer asked curiously, Grandma, what is the warrior saint bloodline? Poison Saint Yu said seriously, the warrior saint bloodline is an extreme genius born in martial arts. Cultivating combat skills is as easy as eating or drinking. They also have an extremely high understanding and talent in human combat skills. Take Qing Li from Fu Saint Country, for example. She cultivated the top half-orange grade, myriad moon green dragon blade technique, but it took her almost 10 years to reach the threshold. If it was someone with the bloodline of a martial saint, it might only take her 1 year, or even less, so fast. Sun Yuer was shocked. This kind of bloodline talent is even more powerful when used against the enemy. Poison Saint Yu clicked her tongue in wonder. You should know that any combat skill will have flaws, even if it is cultivated to the extreme. It is just a competition of whose flaws are more subtle and undetectable. If a venerable realm expert fights against a 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor, the venerable realm expert can easily crush the latter's attack with a stone. This is because a venerable realm expert can easily see through the weakness of a combat emperor's attack. This is the advantage of breaking through the weakness. In a battle between two venerable realm experts, the battle changes rapidly. Even if one can find the opponent's weakness, it is still very difficult to break through it. Poison Saint Yu's old eyes flickered with a perverse light. I also suffered from this in the past. To be able to find the weakness of a Saint Poison, the bloodline of a martial saint, is basically unrivaled in the same realm. Looking at the history of the sacred boundary, there are only a few people with the bloodline of a martial saint. Every time a martial saint appears, it is an existence that shakes the world. Sun Yuer'er was amazed. While staring at Lin Chen's back, she murmured, "Such a powerful person is actually his disciple. No wonder even a genius like young Master Jundok Shuai is willing to be his subordinate." Achoo! Lin Shan rubbed his nose and muttered to himself, "Why do I feel like someone is saying that I am handsome behind my back?" Although Shen Lingshuang had broken the momentum with a single punch and reached the limit of Extreme K, the battle of the second batch was still in full swing. Lin Shun was stunned. He had been too focused on observing Shen Lingshuang and hadn't noticed that in the battle of the 600 geniuses, there was a beautiful figure that was as graceful as a fairy. Every move of hers was like a cloud shrouded in mist, extremely illusory and blurry, but it didn't lose its majestic momentum. In just a dozen moves, she had suppressed the genius ranked 31,441. This wasn't a mental cultivation method or battle chi attribute suppression, but a pure suppression of strength. When I saw that otherworldly beauty, Lin Mao's body trembled. I admit defeat. In just over 20 moves, the genius holding the half-moon halberd hurriedly declared. The fairy's slender hand stopped, and she politely and gracefully nodded her head. Her voice was like the sound of nature. "Thank you for letting me win." After being stunned for a moment, the genius helplessly said, "Fairy Ning is too polite. You should be the one who let me win. With your strength, you don't seem like a genius from a support-type sect." Among the geniuses of the 100 Saints Gate who were floating in the air outside the arena, an elegant young master nodded his head. "You are indeed worthy of being the girl that I fancy. You are indeed extraordinary." Qing Xian, what a beautiful name. The beautiful junior sister next to him felt a little jealous. In terms of appearance, she believed that she was not inferior to countless women in the world. However, when facing this fairy Ning, her temperament and aura were completely different from the inside out. A woman's beauty and ugliness couldn't be completely determined by her facial features. A beautiful woman who had experienced the world of mortals could cultivate her own unique charm. Suddenly, the young master from the 100 Saints Gate's eyes focused. This fairy Ning was actually walking towards the front row of the audience. What was even more surprising was that this peerless fairy who had seen through the world of mortals slightly lifted the corner of her lips and bloomed a smile. Her beauty was peerless. All the scenery in the world seemed to have lost its color. This made the young master dumbfounded. Unfortunately, this smile didn't bloom because of him. It was because of a cynical young man in the audience. The fairy raised her eyebrows slightly and smiled at the young man. "Should I call you Hero Lin or Leader Lin?" Countless geniuses were suddenly startled and shocked beyond belief. Since participating in the Heavenly List Conference, countless geniuses had expressed their admiration for her and expressed their feelings. This fairy Ning didn't even respond to a single word. Now, this fairy Ning actually took the initiative to talk to a man, and a man who couldn't even participate in the Heavenly List Conference. Countless gazes were like sharp swords and blades, uniformly locking onto Lin Chun. He calmly took out a clear ancient mirror from his crotch and looked at it seriously. Then, he said seriously to Fairy Ning, "Well, let's call you Handsome Lin. It's more appropriate. Leader and whatnot are too distant. Who are we?" Chapter 991. He looked up at the sky and sighed. Alas! I originally thought that I was the only one who kept becoming more handsome. I didn't expect that even eldest Miss Ning would become a fairy. Then, handsome Lin, do you think the current fairy or the previous Qing Xian is better? Fairy Ning said with a smile, and naturally sat beside Lin Chun. This person who was as beautiful as a fairy was Ning Qing Xian. When the two of them met, they sighed with emotion in their hearts. From the time they parted at Heavenly Song Academy to the time they risked their lives to save the fake god's family, the two of them didn't spend much time together, but their hearts gave birth to purer and deeper feelings. Ning Qingshuan's temperament had indeed undergone a qualitative transformation. In the past, she was as calm as water and didn't know much about worldly affairs. She was like a clear lotus in the spring sun, making people feel as if they were bathed in the spring breeze and warm like jade. But now, she was more like a fairy who had transcended the mortal world. It was as if she had already experienced the mortal world and was indifferent to everything. If the two of them didn't have an extraordinary relationship, Lin Chen might not have been able to remain calm under her gaze. Among the beauties that Lin Chen had seen, only Leng Yueqi, Ning Qing Xian, and Bai Ruoyan could give him the impression that they were as beautiful as fairies. If Ning Qing Xian was said to be an elegant and refined fairy who had seen through the mortal world, then Leng Yueqi was said to be Leng Yueqi. That Leng Yueqi was a cold and peerless ice fairy, while Bai Ruoyan was more like a peerless celestial fairy. From time to time, she would reveal a hint of shyness in front of Lin Chun, like a banished celestial fairy. Wow, it's another master's wife. When is the wedding going to be held? Shen Lingshuang's eyes lit up. Fairy Ning's beautiful eyes turned, and she said with a faint smile, "You'll have to ask your master," Lin Chen said with a serious expression. "There's no better day than today. There's no better day today than another day. There's no better day than the day after tomorrow. Since it's going to be another day anyway, there's no need to rush. Let's brag for a while and watch the ceremony. Isn't that perfect?" Some male geniuses were burning with jealousy. What the F***CK is this joyous occasion? Before Lin Chun had the chance to catch up with Ning Qing Xian, a towering and murderous sword intent appeared horizontally, cutting off the two of them from their positions. The young master's hair was tied up with a jade belt. His face was like a crown jade, and his facial features were ferocious. He raised his sword and scolded, "F***CKU. A mere aphid dares to insult Fairy Ning?" Lin Chen's expression was especially calm. Ning Qingshuan's beautiful eyes flashed with killing intent. Lin Chen sneered. "Oh, who do you think you are?" The handsome young master in green seemed to have realized that he had lost his composure in front of the fairy. He straightened his clothes, and his expression was cold and arrogant. He warned Lin Chun in a tone as if he was giving alms. "This young master is ranked 10099 on the genius ranking. My title is Heaven-Swallowing Sword, 100 Saints Sex Dongfang Yao. I am one of the geniuses with the highest ranking here. Remember this young master's name, then scram." Lin Chun was stunned. "Get lost. Understood?" F***CK. This was the first time he had seen someone who was better at pretending than him. Speaking of which, how stupid was this person to not realize that he and Ning Qing Xian were obviously old acquaintances? You're not even fit to carry senior brother's shoes. If it weren't for the fact that today is the Heavenly List Assembly, you wouldn't have left your hands and feet behind to apologize. This matter wouldn't be so simple. The beautiful junior sister flew over and sneered at Lin Chun disdainfully. "Who are you? How dare you slander my master?" Shen Lingshuang bared her white teeth. Her ferocious appearance was very cute. Lin Chen patted the girl's head and stood up. Before he could speak, Ning Qingxian blocked in front of Lin Chen. She said indifferently, "Orient Yao. First, he doesn't need to remember your name. Secondly, he is my closest relative. I ask young Master Dongfang Yao to conduct himself with dignity. Third, if you dare to slander him again, I don't recommend tearing your mouths apart. Although the 100 Saints Gate is strong, I, Ning Qing Xian, am not easy to bully." Wow. All the geniuses who were not participating in the competition were in an uproar. Fairy Ning was helping this kid to go against the 100 Saints Gate. She even said it directly. Fairy Ning, you. Orient Yao gritted his teeth and wanted to say something. Lin Shun patted his shoulder and said with a smirk, "That night, she didn't reject me. That night, she was below and I was above. That night, I was in front and she was behind. Oh no, it's the other way around." All the geniuses heard it clearly. That night, you were in front and she was behind? Ning Qingxian rolled her eyes at Lin Chun helplessly. This scene was very ambiguous in the eyes of all the geniuses. Fairy Ning didn't deny it? Was this tacit agreement? Orient Yao was furious, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. You want to fight? This Orient Yao was extremely strong. He was many times stronger than any of the geniuses on the genius ranking. The 10,099th rank was definitely not an undeserved reputation. Chun Wuming, Extreme Sky Pavilion's pavilion master Qin Xiaotian. They weren't even worthy of carrying his shoes. This was an existence that truly stood at the top of the genius ranking. To the current Lin Chun, this was an unprecedented strong opponent. If they fought head-on, Lin Chun didn't know how many rounds he could last. But he wasn't someone to be trifled with either. He had enough rune energy now. If he used a high-energy slow rune, it was hard to say who would win or lose. Let's go. Don't bother with this kind of person. Ning Qingxian smiled at Lin Chun, but he held on to Ning Qingxian. Why are we leaving? This is our best viewing spot. If someone has to leave, it's someone else. What does it have to do with us? Lin Chun smiled and winked at Shun Lingshuang. Isn't that right, good disciple? Yes, yes. Don't disturb master and mistress intimacy. Shun Lingshuang was young, but mischievous. Ning Qingxian smiled. Boom. A sword aura that could split heaven and earth suddenly pressed down, making Lin Chun feel as if thousands of swords were pointing at him. His sharpness was revealed. Lin Chun was unperturbed, and his silver robe fluttered without wind. He was someone who had fought with criminals in the holy prison. Now, he had faced the pursuit of many saints. No one on the genius ranking had this kind of experience and accumulation. It was impossible to suppress him with aura, even if it was the number one on the genius ranking. Good, very good. Now, I'm looking forward to your disciple winning and bringing you to Rainbow Island. Orient Yao was so angry that he laughed. I'll torture you and let you die as painfully as you want. Lin Chen's expression didn't change. Don't worry, I'm a kind person. My spear is also very fast. You won't feel the slightest bit of pain. At most, you'll just mess with the back. The two of them were tit for tat. Lin Chen's aura was not inferior to Orient Yao's, and it stunned many geniuses. This kid is really fearless. After provoking Sun Moon Hall, he went against the 100 Saints Gate. He won't have a chance. The geniuses shook their heads and laughed. A trash who only knows how to hide behind women. Orient Yao flicked his fingernails, sneered disdainfully, and left with his junior sister. Lin Chen looked at his back as he left and suddenly shouted. Actually, it was behind that night. Everyone laughed, and Orient Yao almost fell flat on his face. You have to be careful. This person is very strong. Ning Qingxian said to Lin Chen with a slightly serious expression. Lin Chen nodded. His reputation is well-deserved. However, some things can only be known after a fight. It's okay. Master, I'll help you beat him. Shun Lingshuang clenched her small fist in high spirits. Lin Chen smiled and flicked the girl's snow-white forehead. He looked up at the saints in the sky, and his eyes flashed. Chapter 992. Although he had broken through to the third tribulation, putting aside his trump cards such as Slow, Phantom Rune, and Orange Rank Talent, Instant Light Split Shadow, he was still at the third tribulation level. Lin Chen admitted that his current combat strength was considered to be below average on the Heaven Roll. This was an objective fact. I didn't expect to see Sir Lin Chen again in the Heaven Roll Conference. Nice to meet you, nice to meet you. At this moment, a man and a woman walked over. The handsome young man cupped his fists with a respectful expression. It was ghost fortune teller Mo Ching and ice pupil Lan Ruoxue. They had also come to the southern region to witness this historical moment. The cold and noble Lan Ruoxue smiled and said, Prince Lin Chun is really amazing. He actually has such a deep relationship with Fairy Ning. However, a trace of sadness flashed through her beautiful eyes. The two of us have known each other for a long time, so it's nothing. By the way, are my friends okay? Lin Chun asked with a smile. Mo Ching nodded. Ever since you left with the Dar Pavilion's ancestor, the White Dragon Gate Master and the Ice Heart Palace Master tried their best to resist the saints who joined forces with the Dar Pavilion. Prince Lin Chen's friends all safely left the four-way conference. Mo Ching lowered his head and said to Lin Chen seriously, Sir Lin Chun, my sect master ordered me to convey his message. We are willing to fully support you to resist the other saints in one fell swoop. Lin Chen smiled playfully. Oh, I don't think you will be moved by my handsomeness. I wonder what price there is. Mo Ching said, There is no need for any price. As long as you agree, my sect will come out in full force. Lin Chen didn't reply. He smiled and didn't say anything, neither refusing nor agreeing. Mo Ching wasn't in a hurry and simply sat beside Lin Chen. At this moment, Lin Chen raised his head and stared at all the saints. It's time. System, activate Steel Omen. I will definitely be the king of thieves. Lin Chen activated his talent. The host has activated the Stealing Omen talent, stealing attribute points from 269 saints. That's right, Lin Chen was going to steal the attribute values of all the Sage Stage experts present. At that time, in addition to the attribute points that he would lose during the Heavenless Conference, he would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. Activated Stealing Omen consumed 4 intermediate talent points, 3 intermediate talent points, 5 talent points. Attribute Steal, 20 high-grade Rune Energy, 19 high-grade Fire Energy, 21 high-grade Water Energy, 20 high-grade Metal Energy, 28 high-grade Earth Energy, 21 high-grade Lightning Energy, Stolen Attribute, 9 Advanced Spirit, 20,000 Strengthening Points, 20 Intermediate Talent Points, 10,000 Advanced Essence, 39 Advanced Cultivation Soul Essence, 10,000 Blank Attribute. Boom! Boom! Lin Chen's 9-color battle Chi Fate will stir up the momentum of the sun and the moon. His elemental attributes soared all the way. This was the fastest increase in his attribute points ever since he updated the game version, stealing 269 Sage Realm attribute points. Even if each Sage Realm attribute points could only be stolen once, it was still extremely terrifying. With a thought, he opened the system. Heavenly Way Attribute Collecting System version 6.0 Host. Lin Chen, Cultivation, 3 Calamity Combat Emperor, Advanced Essence, 1,040,000 points maximum power, 55 million Dragon Power, Advanced Health, 990,000 points. Advanced Spirit, 1,779 points, Complete Ascension Realm, Advanced Cultivation Soul Essence, 3,660 points, Advanced Rune Energy, 2,188 points. Intermediate Heavenly Way, 3,227 points. Intermediate Talent Points, 1,950 points. Blank Attribute, 1,320,000 points. Strengthening Points, 740,000 points. Advanced Elemental Energy, 797 points for Fire, 601 points for Earth, 600 points for Wood, 695 points for Gold, 695 points for Water, 678 points for Thunder, 695 points for Wind, 674 points for Wind, 414 points for Light, 521 points for Dark. Technique Status Column, 9 Calamities of Creation plus 14, Taisher Bible plus 14, Heaven Control plus 13, Dragon Flash plus 14, Sword Fury plus 13, Mirror Moon plus 13. Bloodline Status Column, Open or Not, Passive Talent Column. Green level, Dual Cultivation Sex, Purple level Assault, Purple level, Tear, Orange level, Fragment of Supreme God Possession, 2/4. Ultimate Skill Column, Open or Not, Active talent column, open or not. Special rune column, open or not. Talent combination skill, open or not. Advanced elemental attribute points had increased to an average of 600 points. It was more than twice as much as when he looted the Chun family. Very good. There are so many sages and geniuses here. As long as I pull their aggro and target me, the God Slayer talent will be able to unleash its maximum power. Even without the Ares Bracer, Lin Chun, can kill sages again. Lin Chen's brows were furrowed with a disdainful aura. The heaven ranking this time would be the turning point for him. I wonder if the current 9 calamities of creation has the power of an orange-level cultivation technique. Lin Chen was looking forward to it. Strictly speaking, he still didn't have an orange-level battle technique. Only after comprehending the Genesis Holy Bible twice, its power was equivalent to an orange-level cultivation technique, but it wasn't a battle technique. After arriving at the sacred boundary for so long, Lin Chun had never seen an orange-level battle technique. This kind of combat skill was, firstly, extremely rare, and secondly, extremely difficult to cultivate. At this time, the second batch of battles ended. The third and fourth batches followed closely behind. In 2 days, the first round had completely ended. The second round of battles quickly began. The battles became more and more intense, and the atmosphere became more and more intense. Each of these geniuses had different battle characteristics. Lin Chen focused his attention on observing. Lin Chen mainly cultivated the spear, sword, saber, bow, body refinement, and many other fields. He was able to learn his own battle system and combinations from these geniuses. He benefited a lot. Ning Qingxian won the second round very easily. She defeated her opponent in dozens of rounds. Finally, it was Shun Lingshuang's turn in the last batch of the second round. Her opponent happened to be a genius from Sun Moon Hall. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Rank 24619 on the genius roll, sky-burning Sun Luo Yinxia. She was much stronger than Li Songhai. Junior sister, remember not to hold back. Senior brother is strong enough to fight for a top 10 ranking. I allow you to use your trump card at all costs. Even if you're eliminated in the later rounds, senior brother can help you get it back. The young man in white from Sun Moon Hall raised his hand and made a throat-slitting gesture. Luo Yinxia, who was dressed in a bright red robe, nodded and sneered. Senior brother, don't worry. I will do my best. Swoosh. 2 flashes of light flashed, and 2 people entered the arena. Shun Lingshuang snorted. You're with the person who insulted Master just now. I will beat you hard. You don't know what's good for you. Luo Yinxia smirked. Begin, Seiji Fuzumi ordered, and the last batch of geniuses in the second round began to fight. Chi! Boom! Luo Yinxia swallowed a red pill. A blazing sun rose from Luo Yinxia's delicate body, and she seemed to have turned into a violent blazing sun. Her glabella opened and closed like the sun, and dense flame patterns were engraved on her forehead. It was the activation of a 3rd-grade sacred meridian. The 8 young, odd crystal fragments in her body burned fiercely. The residual heat of the battle aura could burn mountains and boil seas. This is a self-immolating odd crystal fragment. This girl from Sun Moon Hall is determined to fight to the death with Lin Chen's disciple. Chapter 993. This isn't a price that can be recovered after one treatment. The energy of the odd crystal fragments will be mostly depleted, and her strength will definitely decline. The geniuses were astonished. Not only did Luo Yinxia take the elixir, but she also self-ignited the odd crystal fragments, and her battle aura rose to a peak. Luo Yinxia's clothes fluttered as she gathered thousands of yang flames on her fingertips and pointed her finger out. Great sun, scorching demon, splitting finger. The beauty let out a cold shout, and an extremely beautiful scarlet fire finger shot out in the air. The Tenmu fire finger burned with sparks that flew in all directions, and with an extremely fast speed, it fiercely shook towards Shun Lingshuang. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. Perhaps he could only use the mighty sky sword, and use sword fury sky piercing or imperial sky to fight against the power of this finger. Shen Lingshuang's expression changed from pure and innocent to a completely focused one. Her little face was completely serious, and her eyes shone with a divine light as she rushed over like an arrow. Can this little girl still resist? A trace of worry flashed across Lin Chen's heart. However, in the next moment, Lin Chen realized that his worry was completely unnecessary. Boom! The wind from the fist swept across and broke the sky. The little girl threw out a simple punch that shook the Yang Flame giant finger and exploded with 4 rays of mystic light. Bang! The terrifying Yang Flame storm was destroyed by the punch, and the shocking explosion seemed to overturn the entire Qilin stage. The violent wind from the punch was like a furious dragon that penetrated Luo Yinxia's delicate body. The beauty's blood splattered on the spot. Lin Shun took a deep breath, and all the geniuses and saints present were overwhelmed with shock. That finger just now wasn't an attack that could be completely neutralized by breaking the weakness. The energy of the burning odd crystal fragments was extremely violent and aggressive, even if it was dispersed. Just the aftermath alone was enough to seriously injure an ordinary 5th Tribulation combat emperor. This little girl still didn't use any combat skills and just relied on her 4th Tribulation cultivation to defeat the opponent. Shunling Shuang smiled innocently. 1 punch, 1 genius. Master doesn't have to worry about my cultivation anymore. Everyone's mouth twitched. 1 punch, 1 genius list? Was there such a ridiculous little girl in this world? Damn it, how can this little girl be so strong? She's still too young. Her martial saint bloodline shouldn't have truly awakened yet. Junior sister Luo Yinxia actually lost, and she was killed in an instant. The people from Sun Moon Hall couldn't help but feel angry. They thought they were extraordinary and looked down on everyone. Up until now, all the geniuses in the Sun Moon Hall, except for Luo Yinxia, had a winning streak. This time, their goal was to enter the Rainbow Island together. It was as if their prestige had been tarnished after being defeated in this round. Shunling Shuang shrugged in boredom and left the scene with ease. The young master in white from the Sun Moon Hall stared at Shunling Shuang's back with a sharp look in his eyes. His murderous aura was overflowing. Ning Qingxian stared at Shunling Shuang thoughtfully. Before the audience could react, Shunling Shuang had drawn the first batch of the 3rd round, number 114. She was the first batch to appear. Her opponent was even stronger this time. In terms of luck in drawing lots, her luck was almost the worst batch. Genius ranking 21240, Myriad Sword Emperor, Qin Jianfeng. He was also the son of a sword saint and had a 3rd-grade saint bloodline. Myriad Sword Physique. His universal sword technique was taught by his father, a sword saint. Qin Jianfeng learned from the previous 2 geniuses and didn't give Shun Lingshuang a chance to gain the upper hand. He used the doppelganger sword technique to gradually wear down Shun Lingshuang's strength. But it was still 1 punch. When everyone witnessed Qin Jianfeng's famous ultimate skill, 10,000 swords returned to origin, being shattered by Shun Lingshuang's punch. The audience was completely silent. How strong is this little girl now? Lin Chen was shocked. He couldn't see through this little girl's strength now. Countless geniuses were doubting their lives. What kind of monster is this little girl? She defeated geniuses ranked 30,000 and 20,000 with her 4th Tribulation cultivation, and it was an instant kill. Even the son of a sword saint was defeated with 1 punch. 1 punch, 1 genius. She defeated everyone. When some geniuses looked at Lin Shun, they couldn't help but be dumbfounded. What kind of master could nurture such a monster? Ning Qingxian asked Lin Chen about the process of how he knew Shun Lingshuang through telepathy. After pondering for a while, she said to Lin Chen seriously, "The bloodline of a martial saint doesn't have such power. The gap between their cultivation is too big. If they were both 5th Tribulation combat emperors, it wouldn't be strange for them to defeat each other in a short period of time. However, there is a huge gap between their cultivation levels. Ning Qingshuan's green eyes flickered with brilliance, and a rare trace of emotion appeared. Perhaps this little girl's bloodline is of a higher grade than the bloodline of a martial saint. Lin Chen's pupils quivered. Of a higher grade? Could it be the legendary bloodline of a martial god? Some of the sages also noticed this possibility. The sage's attention shifted from the geniuses in the audience to Shun Ling Shuang. Then, the third round began with an unprecedented white-hot battle. Those who won 4 consecutive battles would obtain a place to enter the Rainbow Island. Those who won 3 consecutive battles would enter the reserve list. If there were more than 4,000 geniuses who won 4 consecutive battles, then those who won 3 consecutive battles would be eliminated. If there were less than 4,000 geniuses who won 4 consecutive battles, they would be selected from the reserve list to fight again. The following battles were very important. Many hidden aces were finally revealed. Some geniuses who were ranked more than 10,000 in the third round encountered each other in advance. The battles were so exciting that they would be recorded in the history books. Ning Qingxian also encountered a black-clothed youth who practiced an elemental cultivation method. He was a formidable opponent. This person was ranked 19993 on the genius list. He came from a sword domain and was famous everywhere. His ranking was 8 ranks higher than Ning Qingxian. Ning Qingxian fought with him for 2,000 rounds before she won the battle with the long Qingwo that Lin Shun gave her. After 2 days and 2 nights of fierce battles, the heaven ranking finally entered the 4th round. These days, the rankings on the genius list kept changing. It could be said that the entire 36 domains were in a frenzy of heated discussions. Everyone was still unsatisfied, and they looked forward to the next battle even more. The next round is the deciding battle. Those who remain are either strong or dark horses. Hee, it's getting more and more exciting. Lin Shen smiled playfully. Ning Qingxian nodded and said, only 55 geniuses who are ranked more than 30,000 can make it to the 4th round. There are more than 1,000 geniuses who are ranked more than 20,000. There are 6,000 geniuses who are ranked more than 10,000. Aside from a few people, almost all of the geniuses who are ranked more than 10,000 have won consecutive battles. In other words, the probability of Ning Qingxian and Shun Lingshuang encountering geniuses ranked more than 10,000 in the next round was more than 75%. Yes, many geniuses have mastered between 2 to 4 types of half-orange grade combat skills. Lin Shen was deep in thought after watching many classic battles. There were no geniuses who had mastered more than 5 types of combat skills, or they hadn't used them yet. Half-orange grade combat skills were extremely difficult to cultivate. Even the top geniuses were no exception. If they ignored the pursuit of perfection in their realm for the sake of quantity, the combat skills they cultivated would only be full of flaws. These geniuses are well versed in this principle. Their mastery of battle techniques is at least at the pinnacle of perfection. Almost none of them use battle techniques that are half-baked. Some of the geniuses use battle techniques like how I use Sword Fury in Moon Mirror Order. They move according to their will and reach perfection. Lin Shun clicked his tongue in wonder. Chapter 994. Boom. The Holy Light leaderboard changed. First, Ning Qingxian drew a genius ranked 30991. Although no one was weak in the 4th round, her luck was still very good. For consecutive victories should be no problem. Shunling Shuang, on the other hand, was not so lucky. Her opponent was the genius ranked 19400, Ada Gu. This opponent came from the Man region. He drank the blood of the great phoenix and tore a giant elephant apart. His body tempering had reached 99. 15 million dragon power points. He had a domineering aura and a 3rd-grade saint bloodline. His blood was as vigorous as a dragon's. What was even more mysterious was that this person had a peak, Tier 7 Extreme, Fog Black Dragon in his body. Will I, Adagu, meet that little girl? I hope she will not be swallowed by my black dragon. Otherwise, Even a saint will not be able to save her. The 20 feet tall Ada Gu licked his lips and smiled ferociously. A black dragon appeared on top of his head and bared its fangs. One man and one dragon, born as one. This guy's relationship with this black dragon is similar to mine and my azure dragon. They're very close together. Lin Chen's Dragon Emperor's current strength was only 99 million dragon power points. It was still a distance away from the 80 million dragon power points of the 5 Tribulation Dragon Emperor. If the Dragon Emperor faced this black dragon, its chances of winning would not be more than 60%. If it faced Ada Gu, the Dragon Emperor would be crushed. When Lin Chun saw this dangerous fellow, he immediately grabbed the ear of the little girl who was sleeping lazily at the side and asked with a serious expression, "Little girl, let me ask you, how many half-orange grade battle techniques have you learned? With your bloodline and talent, it should not be difficult for you to learn half-orange grade battle techniques. With Shun Lingshuang's talent, it should not be difficult to deal with Ada Gu. However, if the other party cooperated with the extreme Fog Black Dragon, the difficulty would skyrocket." Seeing Lin Chen ask such a question, the little girl was shocked, and a guilty expression appeared on her face. Lin Chen's heart skipped a beat. Damn, this little girl can't be. Contestants enter. Seiji Fuzumi made the announcement. Shun Lingshuang immediately jumped into the arena and giggled. "Don't worry, master. I'll win." Lin Chen had a bad feeling in his heart. Whether or not he could enter Rainbow Island depended on this girl. If you lose, not only will you not be able to eat Long King Wo, but your ass will also be in pain. The 4th round was about to begin. The geniuses outside of the top 40,000 raised their heads in anticipation. The battle between the top geniuses was about to begin. Man Yu's Ada Gu was like a savage beast in human form. He wore wrought tan armor and leapt into the Qilin platform, causing dust and smoke to fly everywhere. Shun Lingshuang, who was standing in front of him, was as delicate as a kitten in front of a huge brown bear. If you surrender now, you still have a chance. Otherwise, you won't even have the chance to scream yourself hoarse. Ada Gu let out a lewd laugh. Shun Lingshuang didn't pay attention to him. She started the match seriously, and her posture was awe-inspiring. She stood with her fists clenched. "Begin!" Seiji Fuzumi shouted. Rip! Ada Gu's arm condensed a battle aura dragon, and his fist smashed down like a mountain-splitting hammer. It had the power to uproot mountains and rivers, crush the airflow, and create a shocking wind pressure. Shun Lingshuang's body tilted, and she leapt into the air. Her knee shot out like a flash of light, striking Ada Gu's elbow first. The battle aura dragon was shattered into nothingness. Crack! The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Before this punch could be released, it was broken by his weak point, causing Ada Gu to grit his teeth in pain. Ling's shadow flash. Shun Lingshuang's delicate body spun in the air, and her jade-like legs stirred up flowing blade wind calamity. She furiously swept forward, wanting to cut off Ada Gu's arm. Bang! This unparalleled, tyrannical attack landed on the black dragon scales, and a strange mist wrapped around Shun Lingshuang's body. The extreme Fog Black Dragon's breath was born in the sky and could corrode battle aura. A rank 8 extreme Fog Black Dragon could even corrode holy power. With her strength weakened, Shun Lingshuang's small face turned serious. "I was waiting for you to make a move." Ada Gu held a giant axe and swung it at Shun Lingshuang. Bang! 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 Shun Lingshuang retreated again and again. Her petite body was like a feather, and every time she dodged, she would counterattack with an even stronger aura. However, Shun Lingshuang was shrouded by the extreme Fog Black Dragon's mist from the beginning, and the power of her attacks was greatly reduced. In addition, the Black Dragon and Ada Gu's coordination was flawless, and Shun Lingshuang was suppressed for the first time. Why does this girl know so few battle skills? Or is she holding back? Lin Chun was stunned, and Ning Qing Xian was also confused. With a martial saint bloodline and above, One's understanding and control of battle skills was extraordinary. Whenever Xinling Shuang used a half-orange grade battle skill, she would not be at a disadvantage. Even Xinling Shuang's movement technique was only at the mid-grade of the high-grade purple rank. Every time, she was able to narrowly avoid the attacks of the man and the flood dragon. Could it be? Lin Shen suddenly thought of a possibility, and his mouth twitched. Perhaps Xinling Shuang did not even know a half-orange grade battle skill. This little girl is being suppressed by Ada Gu from Manu? That's not right. Isn't she suspected to have the martial saint bloodline? Why hasn't she used a single high-grade battle skill? Some of the geniuses noticed the abnormality in the Qilin Cloud platform and were shocked. Ha, die! Earthly barbarian dragon. Ada Gu laughed sinisterly as the mystical dragon coiled around his body. His dragon aura condensed, and his third-grade saint bloodline burned. His pure strength instantly reached the limit of 99 million dragon power points, and he swung his axe down. A blood-red axe aura with the roar of a dragon entwined around it went straight for Xunling Shuang. The mystical mist dragon's mist enveloped the Qilin Cloud platform, and Xunling Shuang had nowhere to run. Xunling Shuang leaped into the air and raised her slender, snow-white leg. She turned into a flash of light and suddenly unleashed a whip attack. Many people witnessed this ridiculous scene. The seemingly weak little girl actually destroyed Ada Gu's all-out attack with a single kick. What? Ada Gu's expression changed slightly, and a petite shadow flashed behind him and reached out with her little hand. Bam! Rip! Her slender fingers burst with a force that could destroy stars, and she tore off the mystical mist dragon's head behind Ada Gu. Ada Gu spat out blood. The mystical mist dragon was born from the same root as him, and he would also be injured the moment Xunling Shuang tore it off. Xunling Shuang's fist penetrated Ada Gu's back and seemed to have hit his sore spot, causing him to feel numb and throbbing pain all over his body as he spat out mouthfuls of blood. Her fists were like a storm as they smashed down furiously and bombarded Ada Gu's back. Bam! 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 The earth element odd crystal fragments in Ada Gu's body exploded, and all his defensive means and weapons were shattered. There was no time to protect Ada Gu at all. Boom! Ada Gu was knocked to the ground, and Xinling Shuang's little face was full of seriousness. Are you going to surrender or die? Ada Gu was covered in blood, and his eyes were filled with fear. Did she notice my weakness? Damn it! I was supposed to win, but I actually lost to a little girl. In the end, Ada Gu admitted defeat. He knew that if he continued fighting, he would die directly, and even a sage wouldn't be able to save him. His mystical mist dragon parasitized his spine, and although the mystical mist dragon was his strongest trump card, it would become his weakness once it died. The parasitized spine would become extremely fragile, and the death of the mystical mist dragon would become a fatal weakness. He didn't expect Xunling Shuang to see through his weakness and seize the opportunity to kill him. Winner, Xunling Shuang, Seiji Fuzumi announced. With a wave of her sleeve, holy light bathed the two of them, and the parasitized mystical mist dragon died completely. Master, how was it? I didn't lose, right? Xunling Shuang skipped back to Lin Chen's side, and before she could show off for a second, Lin Shun grabbed her cheeks with both hands. Tell me honestly, did you not study properly? Master, it hurts. Sister Qing Xian, he bullied me. It still hurts? You're but wants to bloom, right? Are you going to tell me or not? I'll tell you what. After Lin Chen's torture, Xunling Shuang told him everything and quietly took out 8 types of half-orange grade techniques. Big Sister and the others have given me so many cultivation techniques. Xunling Shuang wrung her hands, pouted, and stared at Lin Shun with her gem-like eyes. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. 8 types of half-orange grade techniques. And this girl didn't learn any of them? Tens of thousands of geniuses watched as Xunling Shuang took out 8 types of half-orange grade techniques, and they were stunned. Since when did half-orange grade techniques become so common? Chapter 995. Many of the geniuses' mouths twitched when they saw the 8 half-orange grade cultivation techniques. Half-orange grade cultivation techniques were considered a piece of cake even in a grade 5 sect. They were not common. Why did most of the geniuses on the Genius Leaderboard only cultivate 2 to 4 half-orange grade cultivation techniques? Almost all of the half-orange grade cultivation techniques were provided by their own sects or clans. This was the benefit of being in a large sect. Top core disciples could cultivate half-orange grade combat techniques. If they wanted to purchase a new half-orange grade cultivation technique, it would cost at least tens of millions of Saint Origin coins. If a sect purchased a half-orange grade cultivation technique, it could be passed down indefinitely. The only downside was that it would consume the manpower and resources of top elites to replicate it. Moreover, it could not be mass-produced. Xunling Shuang did not cultivate any combat techniques. On the contrary, the Divine Flame Palace provided her with many top-notch cultivation techniques. It was just that she did not cultivate any of them. Her talent was top-notch. In the Divine Flame Palace, she was invincible among her peers. The senior brothers and sisters who were truly powerful would respect their status and would not attack this little girl. As a result, she relied solely on her bloodline talent to crush many disciples. She did not learn any of the half-orange grade cultivation techniques provided by the Divine Flame Palace. After learning the truth, Ning Qingxian could not help but laugh. This little girl was still a child after all. Lin Xin was not the same. He was fuming with anger. He was almost fooled by this little girl. The geniuses ranked between 10,001 and 20,000 on the Genius Leaderboard were much more valuable than the geniuses behind them. It was extremely difficult for the geniuses ranked over 10,000 to move up one rank. No matter how talented Xunling Shuang was, she could not rely on her talent to defeat these geniuses who were close to the top of the sacred boundary. Most importantly, she was too young. Her bloodline talent had only just been awakened. It was not even at its peak yet. The geniuses present were all at the level where they had been through countless trials and tribulations. Now, study hard and make up for what you owe me, Lin Xin said viciously to Xunling Shuang. The little girl looked dejected. The geniuses could not help but snicker. Was Lin Xin crazy? What was there to learn in such a short period of time? Was there still time? Lin Xin picked up many half-orange tier cultivation methods and seriously picked out a cultivation method. Did he lose his mind in anger? Do you think the cultivation of a half-orange grade technique can be done overnight? It's already the 4th round. A last-minute battle technique against a top genius will only expose his flaws. Even someone with the bloodline of a martial saint wouldn't be able to learn a half-orange tier cultivation method in such a short time. The geniuses who didn't participate in the battle looked at Lin Shan with disdain. The geniuses from 100 Saints Gate looked at Lin Shan as if he was a beggar. What a pitiful aphid. How dare you try to offend our eldest senior brother? In my opinion, this Lin Shan is just a mediocre teacher. Wasn't he just lucky enough to find a disciple with a martial saint's bloodline? The strength of this disciple has nothing to do with him. Sure enough, eldest senior brother's words are true. This is a piece of trash who hides behind a woman. I despise this kind of person the most. The geniuses from 100 Saints Gate were disdainful. Their disdain for Lin Shun had reached the extreme. Master, there are less than 3 days left until the next round. I don't have enough time to learn. Xunling Shuang pouted and said with grievance. Xunling Shuang won 4 consecutive battles and obtained a spot to enter Rainbow Island. However, there was still the battle for the top 10 spots. The geniuses she encountered would definitely be stronger than Ada Gu from the Savage Realm. If he couldn't get into the top 10, he wouldn't get an extra spot. Lin Xin wouldn't have a chance to enter Rainbow Island. Although Ning Qingxian was strong, she was ranked 20001. The task of fighting for the top 10 spots could only be left to Xunling Shuang. Don't worry, I'm here. Since I let you learn it, I won't let you learn it blindly. You've already cultivated the 9 calamities of creation that I taught you to a level close to mine. Your fire calamity combat body is the strongest, so you'll learn this one. Lin Shun picked up a half-orange grade combat skill Demon Burning Sky Fist. This girl's cultivation method was also the 9 calamities of creation. She relied on her own strength to gain a position in the Divine Flame Palace. She enjoyed a lot of cultivation resources. She had many high-level and top-notch elemental mystical pills and elixirs. She also had many elemental cultivation secret realms controlled by the Divine Flame Palace. In terms of elemental attribute points, this girl's high-level elemental attribute points were equivalent to 800 points for 9 types of elemental attributes. Her fire attribute points were more than 1,000 points. After all, the Divine Flame Palace mainly cultivated fire attribute. However, why didn't she surpass Lin Shun? That was because she didn't have the enhanced mental cultivation method. After all, that was Lin Chen's foundation. Seeing the techniques selected by Lin Shun, Shenling Shuang was even more terrified. This was the hardest technique to cultivate among the 8. Lass, relax your mind. Master will teach you well from now on. Lin Shen smiled evilly. Shenling Shuang was terrified. Master, what are you trying to do? I don't want to eat the lollipop. Why, I know I'm wrong. Master, this is crazy. This kid is crazy. He's so narrow-minded. He even made things difficult for his own disciple. That Shenling Shuang is really meditating to cultivate. This master and disciple pair are going all out. The geniuses of the Sun Moon Hall no longer paid attention to Lin Shun and the others. They were focused on the battle. After 3 days and 2 nights of white-hot battles, the 4th round of battles had finally come to an end. During this period, the Genius Leaderboard had undergone several changes, which shocked everyone. However, an even more terrifying storm was about to erupt. There were a total of 3,819 geniuses with 4 consecutive victories. Out of these 3,819 geniuses, only 16 were ranked over 30,000, 117 were ranked over 20,000, and the rest were all ranked over 10,000. All of the above geniuses had obtained a place to enter the Rainbow Island. In the void, hundreds of saints stepped on the air, eager to continue. This year's Heaven Leaderboard is much better than before, a white-robed elder said in amazement. The red-robed old man scolded in disappointment. Damn it, these 2 disappointing disciples actually lost a round, and now they have to participate in the selection competition. The 2 sage-like saints looked at each other and smiled. I also noticed that these little guys are a little monstrous. This Lin Chen's disciple probably won't be able to make it. If he enters the Rainbow Island, the risk will be great. If he dies on the Rainbow Island, all of our efforts will be in vain. The 2 deacons of my Chamber of Commerce and Binding Rope are already on the way. It won't be long before this kid becomes a turtle in a jar. The Hidden Pavilion Master and the other saints were suppressing a fire in their hearts. They were almost driven crazy by Lin Chen's ultimate skill. No genius could fool around with more than a dozen saints, let alone escape the pursuit of a group of saints time and time again. However, it was this prodigy that caused them to have a belly full of anger. The remaining 181 spots will be selected in the selection round later. The next round will be the battle for the top 10. Currently, 80 geniuses have signed up. The competition will be divided into 3 rounds, and the final round will determine the top 10. Seiji Fuzumi looked around with approval. This year's Heaven Leaderboard was extremely valuable. There were even some little guys that the 2 elders couldn't see through. They were very mysterious. Not all the powerful geniuses would compete for the top 10 spots. The actual reward was just an extra spot. Among the geniuses with 4 consecutive victories, many of them deliberately refused to participate in order to preserve their strength and trump cards, so that there would be more opportunities on the Rainbow Island. Chapter 996. It's finally here, the battle for the top 10. Although it's not the first place on the genius list, anyone who can get into the top 10 will undoubtedly be one of the leading figures of the next era. I'm optimistic about Sun Moon Hall's young master Taishu. Although this group of people is arrogant and extraordinary, They are indeed very strong. All the battles they have experienced are crushing. I'm more optimistic about the Hundred Saints Gates Orient Yao and Ji Wu Shuang. Tisk, you guys haven't noticed that dark horse. The geniuses outside the top 40,000 were all excited, and the atmosphere was filled with heated discussions. After watching the battle for so long, their enthusiasm didn't decrease at all, and was even higher. Buzz! The holy light golden leaderboard was radiating with brilliant holy light. Dazzling golden names began to appear on the leaderboard, and battle lists began to appear. Countless pairs of eyes were filled with anticipation. Genius List 14,503rd, Ku Taiyuan vs. Genius List 10,009th, Orient Yao vs. Genius List 16220, Long Yin vs. Genius List 15990, Dongfang Wuhan vs. Genius List 19400, Shunling Shuang vs. Genius List 14997, Zhang Sun Tianyao vs. The faces of the geniuses were extremely interesting. Shunling Shuang vs. Zhang Sun Tianyao was more than 3,000 ranks higher. This person was much stronger than a Dagu. Zhang Sun Tianyao carried a blue light spear with 5 holy light wheels revolving behind him. His gaze was like a sword as he looked disdainfully at the world. His entire body was destroyed by the wind, clouds, and starlight that drifted and shot towards the surroundings, and his imposing aura shot into the sky and devoured the world. Merely standing here was sufficient to terrify countless people, and he was simply like a primeval war emperor standing proudly in the battlefield. Third grade sacred bloodline, refined 5 light, attribute odd crystal fragments, and it said that he cultivated the spear technique of the ancient Shura race and fused with a half-orange spear technique. He even swallowed 100 peak rank 7 beast cores. He's simply a monster. If his spear technique is so strong, it said that Zhang Sun Tianyao can be ranked in the top 100 of the genius list. There aren't any fancy moves, only extremely powerful spear techniques. Many geniuses were focused on Qilin Stage 12. Zhang Sun Tianyao's background was so strong that it already caused everyone to discuss how many rounds Shun Lingshuang could last before she was defeated. All of a sudden, Shun Lingshuang, who was sitting in her seat, opened her bright eyes, which were faintly flickering with divine light. Lin Shun patted Shun Lingshuang's shoulder and took away all the attribute light balls from her body. Received 10 Advanced Cultivation Method Soul Essences, 33 Advanced Cultivation Method Soul Essences, 19 Advanced Cultivation Method Soul Essences. Lin Shan obtained a total of 97 Advanced Cultivation Method Soul Essences. That's right, Shunling Shuang. When Shunling Shuang learned a combat skill, her body would produce a large amount of high-level cultivation method soul essences the moment her bloodline talent was activated. This was a characteristic of her bloodline. So magical. Master, you're too amazing. Shunling Shuang looked at herself and looked at Lin Shun with an almost worshipful gaze. Don't be infatuated with Master. Master is just a legend. Lin Shun had a mischievous smile on his face and immediately said jokingly, "If you lose again this time, don't blame Master for being impolite. Ling Shuang knows. Hee, I will definitely beat them up." Shunling Shuang bounced into the stage again, like a naive girl next door. She was completely different from the aggressive Zhang Sun Tianyao. Many female geniuses who were overflowing with sympathy could not bear to watch. Lin Shun, what kind of man are you? You let a little girl risk her life, but you just sit back and enjoy the fruits of her labor? You still have a nerve to call yourself her master. Have you taught this little girl anything? As a master, you can't even teach your own disciple a battle technique well. You're just a useless master who wants to kill people. Zhang Sun Tianyao's strength far surpassed Ada Gu's. Shun Lingshuang's battle with Ada Gu had almost put her life in danger. If she fought with Zhang Sun Tianyao, it was indeed possible that even a Sage Realm expert would not be able to save her in time. However, everyone still hated Lin Chen more for being an incompetent master. He spurred a little girl to fight while he sat back and enjoyed the fruits of her labor. Such cowardly behavior aroused the anger of the geniuses. Facing the ridicule and curses that filled the sky, even Imo, Qingyu, and Lan Ruoxue felt pressured. Only Ning Qingxian and Lin Shun were completely fine. Ning Qingxian was as calm as water. She even had some expectations for Shun Lingshuang. She had always believed in Lin Shun. From the small Shenwu sect to the sacred boundary, he was still the most special person. Meanwhile, Lin Shun silently raised his middle finger at those geniuses who were ridiculing him and cursing him. He smiled faintly and coquettishly. A bunch of idiots. What? The geniuses were furious. Just as they were about to curse, the situation on the Qilin cloud platform changed. Zhang Sun Tianyao's eyes trembled with fear as he held his spear in his hand. War Demon Burning Sky Fist. Accompanied by a delicate shout, a shocking storm suddenly swept through the Qilin cloud platform. Bang! As if the heavens and earth had been blasted apart, an earth-shattering explosion burst forth. The fist that could burn through the heavens and earth shattered all the defenses and spear techniques. Bang! Zhang Sun Tianyao's spear was sent flying thousands of meters away. All the geniuses were dumbfounded. Silence, an eerie silence. The tens of thousands of geniuses present fell into a momentary silence. Even the geniuses who had just entered the platform were stunned. Inside the Qilin cloud platform, clouds of fire rolled as the fire calamity battle Qi burned the platform like a sea of fire. Shun Lingshuang was wearing a pink dress. Her long hair was tied up, and her bright eyes and white teeth were bathed in the sea of fire. Her feet were stepping on flying flames, and her fists were circulating with raging flames. Her dress was fluttering in the wind, making her look majestic and valiant like a peerless Valkyrie. Zhang Sun Tianyao was twitching on the ground like a dead dog. His body was covered in blood. Insta-kill? Insta-kill at the beginning of the match in a single punch? She used a half-orange grade fist technique. Didn't she say that she doesn't know any half-orange grade combat skills? What's going on? All the geniuses present were dumbfounded. What happened? Before they could say anything to Lin Shun, Zhang Sun Tianyao had been sent flying away. Even the Saint Realm experts who were watching the battle from the sky were shocked. That punch was too heaven-defying. That punch was flawless and had reached perfection. It contained the essence of returning to one's natural state and had surpassed the original grade of combat skills. In the hands of a fourth tribulation combat emperor, it was as if something rotten had turned into something magical. Even I couldn't find a flaw in that punch. That's not the level of a beginner. It's at least 5 times more powerful than the original grade. No, it's even more powerful. Could it be she learned a half-orange grade fist technique in such a short period of time and cultivated it to perfection? The Saint Realm experts were terrified and their scalps went numb. The Saint Realm experts fixed their gazes on Lin Shun as if they were trying to see through all his secrets. Lin Shun nodded his head in satisfaction. Not bad. Look at this kid. He respects the old and loves the young. He's always showing mercy to others. It's obvious that he was taught by me. The geniuses looked at Zhang Sun Tianyao, who was twitching on the ground and covered in blood. The corners of their mouths twitched. What kind of F** King Mercy was this? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.